right?
I mean, they won a ton of Gold Gloves and Silver Sluggers, but that's
No, I'm
about
talking
it.
about,
Yeah,
MVPs, Cy Youngs, Manager of the Year, all that stuff.
yeah. I mean, I can make the
Not that that
case.
matters, but it is kind
No,
of strange, right, for the team that wins the World Series?
well, Snitker won Manager of the Year. I want to say it was last year, maybe the year before. I know he's won it, but I mean, I get it. Gabe Kapler, what the Giants did. The Giants weren't picked to
Yeah.
do anything, and they win their division. So I mean, I totally get
Did
that.
anybody even pick them to go 500?
I don't think so. I mean, their
Right? I
odds
mean,
were
what was their
crazy.
over-under on wins?
That's a good
It
question.
couldn't have been 80. I bet it was in the
No,
70s. I don't know that, but
probably.
I mean, the way everybody was – I mean, literally no one was talking about the Giants. It was just Padres – well, Dodgers and then Padres, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, so I get that. But yeah, I mean, they didn't have a Cy Young candidate because they just Freed had injuries and they just weren't that caliber.
Well, they didn't have
MVP is
Soroka.
the only one that you can make the potential case for with Austin
who?
Riley. Austin Riley.
Really, though? Okay. I mean, but he's not going to win, though, right?
No,
mean,
I don't think he's going to win, but I think he's the closest to making a case for
right.
for anything.
Look, I guess your best I guess counter to that question is to say, hey, it's a team game, and
Yeah,
they were
they won the
team.
only trophy anybody cares about. So.
Right. No, that's exactly right. I mean, and the reality is, who gives a crap? Nobody cares if your team wins it all. Who cares about all the awards? But I'm just simply pointing out, like, isn't that strange? Like, the team that won it, and I can't think, unless I'm missing something, I can't think of anybody that is going to win an award.
Yeah, I don't think so. But whatever.
Interesting.
I don't care.
So you've got your World Series shirt on today?
I do. The reports are that things are moving along with Freddie Freeman, but he wants the 6th year, and that's kind of the holdup.
No, it's not. Yeah, it is. That's what I said. That's what we were talking about it yesterday. Like,
Yeah.
what he wants. Like, I'm not. You guys were acting like, oh, it's just going to happen. It's like, well, I understand they want him back, but I mean, are they? I don't think the Braves are the type that, with this new regime, are just going to do anything right at any cost. I mean, I don't get that vibe. You may feel differently. I know it's Freddie Freeman. I get it. He's Mr. Brave. I get it, but they don't seem like they're not extremely far away, but they're not really close either. Fair?
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's all about that year, though. And he just completed an 8-year, $135 million contract. That was the largest contract in franchise history when he signed it. But 6 years takes him to age 37, and I get that. That the numbers will show you that wouldn't age well. But I just feel like they'll get it figured out. They'll come to a compromise. I just don't see him going anywhere else. I just really don't.
It is certainly hard to imagine.
I know there are other. I know the Yankees are supposedly involved, and all your teams that you always expect to be involved in something like that. But I think the Braves will end up getting it done.
So this is not the shirt that you were showcasing on Twitter, you and Jared?
No.
You had Brave
no.
shirts on. This is a different one?
Yeah. Yeah, this one just came in yesterday. I ordered this literally after the last out. This is the Locker Room Championship shirt. So I ordered a bunch of things, but
I was going to say, I'm surprised
you
you haven't had one on every day.
Well, they're taking their time to come in. So.
Well, that is true. Believe me, I know all about that. Things are not quick.
Yeah,
unless it's being made in our backyard, it's not quick.
Well, like I have a World Series, which was the dugout hoodie that they wore during the World Series. So that I ordered that after they punched their ticket. I have an NLCS championship shirt. I have the National League pennant that came in already, but I'm waiting on the World Series pennant. So there's a lot of different things that are going to be coming in.
So you guys had the breaking tees on, right?
Yes. Yeah, I had the.
Those are cool shirts.
They're awesome. I had the Waffle House
I was
one.
gonna say yours looks like the Waffle House. Like, so okay,
Yeah.
I figured that's what it was. I was like, that looks like the Waffle House logo. So that's the whole
Yeah.
point of it. Okay.
Yeah. And then Jared had Party Like It's 1995. And
Yeah, I
it's
hate
basically
that one. That's a
the
terrible
1995.
shirt.
I know you do.
Terrible
But
shirt.
it's the 1995 World Series logo. So that's what he had. They had some good ones. They had one with Ron Washington, Send and Wash.
Jocktober.
That was pretty good. Jocktober. So they definitely have.
Didn't they even have a Die Hard reference? I think they had a
Die
Hard Atlanta.
Die Hard Atlanta. Yeah, they had that. The Night Shift with the pictures on it. They have the Coca-Cola Atlanta champions. Killed the narrative. We just might be those world champs. So that's a great. If you haven't read that, Jock Peterson's piece on the Players Tribune on that whole thing of like we are those MFers, it's a great story of how that all came to be. Because it basically was he had just gotten to the team, and it was because of a card game. He was playing cards with the pitchers on the plane, and the plane landed, and he ended up going on the bus with the pitchers. And everybody looked at him like, why are you on the bus with the pitchers? And he said, because y'all are the blank that are going to win us the World Series. And that's how it all came to be.
Care to guess, if you haven't seen, who's going to be the starting quarterback for the Jets? Jets, Jets this weekend?
I'm going to assume it's not Mike White.
Is it Vinny Testaverde?
That's a really good guess. That's a really
a good
guess. But it's not Vinny Testaverde.
Is he still playing?
It's not Neil O'Donnell. It's not Mike White because he threw 4 picks last week. And apparently Zach Wilson is not ready to come back yet from his PCL strain.
Well, who else do they have? I don't even know who else they have.
By the way, I feel like the answer is just to me it's along the same lines as Vinny Testaverde.
Mark Sanchez.
I'm not surprised, or I don't know the difference between Vinny Testaverde and this quarterback that they're playing.
Plot twist, they actually traded to get Sam Darnold back.
No, they did not.
No. Okay.
That would be one Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco. Wow. I forgot they did that because he was with Philly, and then they got him back.
Yeah, good luck on Sunday.
Can he still throw?
Well, apparently so.
Is there anything left in that?
Unless they're not throwing on Sunday. They have not come out and said the game plan is not to throw. But, yeah. Joe Flacco.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So good luck with that, New York Jets. Joe Flacco. How many people even knew he was still in the league?
Well, clearly I forgot he was with the Jets, so yeah.
There's your answer.
Yeah, you're right. I guess Vinny Testaverde was a closer guess than I imagined.
Yeah, actually, I really thought, you kind of deserved a point for Vinny Testaverde because it's not far off.
Vinny Testaverde played for a long time for a lot of teams.
He did. He did.
Tampa, Cleveland, Baltimore, the Jets, Dallas, New England, Carolina. A lot of teams.
Predators fall in Toronto last night 3-0 to the Leafs. Leafs look like the real deal.
Yeah, they do. They really do.
I mean, not the scoring stuff. Like we know they're, what they can do offensively. To me, it's really more about on the back end. Like Jack Campbell looks
They got a goalie.
Legit.
Yeah.
And Peter Mrazek is your backup. No shame in that when he's healthy. And, they made life difficult for the Predators. They just don't look like a team that, doesn't have any interest in playing defense. They were forechecking last night. They were getting after it. That win game, I guess it wasn't the game-winning goal. That second goal on the game, the one late in the third period, that's work ethic right there. That's just winning battles.
Yeah.
And so they don't look like a finesse team, that just wants to don't touch me. Let's just get, pass to the, Austin Matthews, he's really good. Nylander, oh, he's really good. That Marner guy, oh, he's really good. Tavares, oh, he's really good. Like, don't touch us, though, because we're scared. We don't want to get hit. No, I mean, I'm going to keep my eye on them. They seem like a legit team in the Eastern Conference.
No, I think they finally might be, and the key is going to be Jack Campbell. I mean, he's a guy that's been around a while, former first-round pick by the Dallas Stars, spent a lot of time with the Kings, but now he's been in Toronto the last few years, seems to be the go-to guy. I mean, he's got a GAA below 2 right now, and that was the thing. You look at the stat sheet last night, it was 1-0 for a majority of the game, but the Predators only got 24 shots on net and just couldn't do anything with it. And so, they had the late couple goals. Toronto scored a couple goals late, but pretty impressive looking team with a lot of firepower.
No doubt about it. We'll come back. We'll talk with Paul Feinbaum. Hey, Paul. We'll talk to him next here on Darren Dunick and Chase, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Way to win. Took everybody. We found a way to win. Let's go. Titans on 3. 1, 2, 3. Titans.
The red-hot Titans sit atop the AFC with an 8-2 record.
It is pretty incredible that they just continue to find ways to win.
Your home of the best Titans coverage.
This is how the Titans are going to have to win games.
Is Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey everybody, Willie here from north of the border. Do you really want to go through another year with that awful joint pain? Don't do it. Resolve right now to get yourself moving again for 2022. It's time to call QC Kinetics. It's non-surgical regenerative treatments for joint pain. We're talking about lasting results using natural biologics. No surgery, no pain meds, no steroids, and no downtime. You can get moving again. This is really exciting stuff. It's regenerative, it's restorative, and they actually encourage your body to heal itself using these highly concentrated natural biologics. Patients are raving about it, and it's there in our listening area. Hip pain relief, knee pain relief, shoulder and back pain relief. Imagine getting better, feeling great in 2022. So don't let them keep giving you steroids. Don't let them tell you that the surgery is your only option. Get that second opinion at QC Kinetics. Do it now. Here's how you do it. Call 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. It's QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024.
Hey, Nashville, looking to spruce up your home for the holidays? Social Furniture on the West Side has you covered. They're packed with items you can either take home with you or have them delivered to you the same day. You've heard of inventory shortages. Well, not at Social Furniture. At Social Furniture, you can get your new furniture today. Yes, the same day. For instance, take this designer leather sectional. For not $3,000, it's only $1,299 with today's delivery. At Social Furniture, the savings are huge out there. They're located on the west side, 5412 Charlotte Avenue near White Bridge Road. Maybe you need some chairs for your table, or you have guests for the holidays and need furniture fast. Well, you can find it all at Social Furniture. They have thousands of combinations to choose from, and they'll deliver today. And guess what? The best thing is you don't have to pay today. You can take 12 months to pay with no interest. So load up the family and come to Social Furniture today on Charlotte Avenue in West Nashville.
Willie Donick here for Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. Fall is here, and that means the cold winds of winter are coming. It's a great time to replace those old, drafty windows. Pella is the leader in the industry for top-quality window and door products. But Pella Windows and Doors are also affordable, extremely affordable. Pella has payment plans less than $95 a month to replace your windows. So, I suggest you purchase your windows and doors from the experts at Pella of Nashville. Go to PellaofNashville.com.
Tune in to Stillman and Company every Friday at 5 o'clock.
I am glad to be on this show.
To hear from Nashville sports media personality Chad Withrow of Outkick 360.
He's 6'4", he's 260 pounds, he runs 21 miles per hour.
Brought to you by Apple Collision Centers.
This could be the best game of the weekend between these two teams.
Withrow joins Stillman and Company Fridays at 5.
Happy to join you guys every Friday.
On Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is new Vanderbilt head coach Jerry Stackhouse. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Thank you, Coach Stack. Back here on Darren, Donick, and Chase. Don't forget, you can watch us streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube every single day. Our video streaming is brought to you by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. You know what that music means. Every day at 2 o'clock over on 94.9, you can listen to this man's show. He's Paul Feinbaum. He joins us every Wednesday on the program, and he's brought to you by mtgrt.com, your live and local mortgage expert. Good morning, Paul. How are we doing?
Doing great, guys. Good morning.
Tell you what, no one should ever accuse Dave Aranda for not having, let's see, how do I clean this up for radio purposes? Having the guts, the wherewithal to do what, I mean, I got to be honest, when I saw that live, I was like, wow, it's on. What did you make of the fans storming the field? They get the fans off the field. Aranda calls a timeout and kicks a field goal against Oklahoma. Then his explanation is for point differential in tiebreakers. I was like, woo, all right.
Yeah, I mean, it sounded convoluted, but if it turned out that there was a tie and he missed it by 2 points, then his fans would be wondering, why didn't you do something? So I think it was a bold, ballsy move, and quite frankly, watching Lincoln Riley cry was the highlight of the weekend. I mean, here's a guy that runs it up against he runs it up on the scrimmage Saturday in the spring.
So it didn't bother you a bit.
No, I not in the slightest. I mean, coaches complaining is such a bad look when some guy say, I don't know why they scored. We're up 49, down 49. I mean, just shut up and you lost. Get out of there.
Yeah. Indeed, they did. So their season. The committee already showed that they didn't really love him. Now you can kiss that goodbye. So we were talking yesterday. Justin Fuente is out. We got to, know him a little bit with his days in Memphis. He's out at Virginia Tech. But more importantly, we were just discussing, what is that job? Frank Beamer's body of work there was unbelievable when you think about all the double-digit win seasons he had at Virginia Tech. But sitting here today in late 2021 – for the next guy who's going to take it over in 2022. Paul, what kind of job is that?
I think it's a pretty average, mediocre job. I mean, first of all, the recruiting base is narrow, and I'm not enough of a Virginian to know, you have to go down Hampton Road and all these, the beach. I mean, there are all these weird sections of Virginia. By the way, I always used to get confused. I always thought Virginia Tech was in West Virginia. It just sounds like it belongs in West Virginia, doesn't it? And outside, I mean, even Frank Beamer had a rough time at the end because of recruiting. If you're a player in that state, you go to North Carolina, you go to Virginia. If you're a 5-star, you go to Georgia, Alabama, or somewhere else, or maybe Clemson. I just don't, unless you're part of that culture of it has to go anywhere.
I think today trying to figure out, we can all come up with names, but in the end, I feel like we miss more than we get right with, trying to connect the dots of who's going to be the next coach. And I know there's a lot of factors because a lot of coaches say no or what have you. So ultimately, you see all the names out there, but ultimately, who do you think they end up landing to be the next Virginia Tech coach?
Yeah. I mean, I think the usual suspects are go to Central Casting and dig up Jamie Chadwell and Billy Napier and all these names that keep popping up. What I think is so interesting, though, is that 6 years ago, Justin Fuente was probably the hottest coach in the country. Mm-hmm. If I remember correctly, South Carolina wanted him, and ultimately he said no, and they ended up looking at Kirby Smart, which ended up getting Mark Richt fired, and then I believe they hired Muschamp. So, you think about hot coaches over the last 5 or 6 years. The hottest coaches have been Justin Fuente, Tom Herman, Scott Frost, and Chip Kelly. and the guys, these were number one on everybody's list. These weren't just, the Billy Napiers of the world who were good but always a bridesmaid. I mean, these were the top line guys, and none of them have worked out, which brings us to where we are right now. You really better know what you're doing, because if you go outside the box, and not outside the box, if you go traditional hot coach Tom Herman-esque, what are the odds? And Steve Sarkisian was the hottest coach of last year. He's hanging on by a thread right now.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. You didn't bring up Hugh Freeze, so let's do our weekly Hugh Freeze chat. Is this the off season where he goes somewhere else, or is he just satisfied at Liberty?
He's not satisfied there, and I think some of these jobs we're now getting into Hugh Freeze territory. I don't know if Whit Babcock at Virginia Tech would swing on him, but somebody will, and somebody should. It's not going to happen in the SEC. For whatever reason, there's still this vapor cloud that follows Hugh Freeze around. But he's really a good coach, and if you can get past, and it's more the NCAA issues, I think, than the personal indiscretions. I don't think most people really care, that you did whatever he's accused of doing, and there's still some debate about exactly what that is. But the NCAA issues do haunt you a little bit. But I think he can overcome that. And I think he's a coach we always forget about, because it depends on the individual, the athletic director. If you can stomach the backlash, and it's not really publicly, it's inside the Beltway. It's from other schools and other ADs.
Yeah. Speaking with Paul Feinbaum here on the DDC, so I guess another name that it seems like it's turned into a weekly on the show with you. What would it be a hit without talking about Dan Mullen? And I've got to believe in your mind, you're sitting there, you see them down 42-35 at home at the half to Samford. I can only imagine what your show would have been like this week if Florida loses that game. And even I said yesterday or Monday, all bets would, because I was like, well, Dan Mullen's going to get another year. He's going to be, things are going to get weird and awkward, but he's going to have another year. But I was like, all bets would have been off if they lose to Samford. Like, I don't know what would have happened. What were you thinking watching them give up 50-something to Samford?
Yeah, and I think don't focus on who won the game. We all knew Samford was eventually going to fall apart. It was the fact that they gave up 52 a week after firing the defensive coordinator. And I think, had the game ended and Dan Mullen said, listen, we have a new coordinator, we did a lot of things wrong, we got 2 huge games left, leave it at that. But instead, Dan Mullen can't leave things alone. He has to defend the indefensible, the fact that they were celebrating and dancing. He was touting the stats against Samford. And it's like Dan Mullen can't win because Dan Mullen always thinks he's smarter than everyone else. And then on Monday, he starts debating the media. These are things that freshmen in public relations at Vanderbilt or Tennessee or anywhere else know better than to do. And the narrative is this. Scott Strickland, the athletic director, does not want to fire him. I don't think that really matters anymore. I think it really matters is what the rest of this season looks like. Should he lose? I think the biggest game is Florida State because it's the last game and it means more. But even a loss at Missouri or some combination of 2 losses, I think he probably would be gone. I don't think you can defend him any longer. And if you believe in him, what is going to be different a year from today? Florida in 2013 had Will Muschamp as the coach. They lost to Georgia Southern. Jeremy Foley, the so-called dean of the SEC ADs, said he really deserves another chance. It was a disaster. And that's the risk you take. Is it going to be worse a year from now? But ask the AD of Tennessee a couple of years ago who decided, let's give Butch Jones another year. It will get better.
We're talking to Paul Feinbaum. And Paul, as we continue to talk about coaching carousel, a name that I hear a lot now, whether it's one of the big jobs, LSU, obviously he's linked to from his past, but Washington, but Dave Aranda, who's done a nice job at Baylor, Well, how do you view his stock right now?
Very high, and the LSU connection I think has to be considered strong. And I think he's legitimate anyway. I mean, this thing's about to start really clicking, and Florida, if it becomes available in the next 2 weeks, just makes it even more complicated. But you have to think by now, LSU and Southern Cal have had 6 weeks to 2.5 months to get on the right page with their guys. So I think Aranda fits into all of this. He's got a strong connection at LSU. I do believe that they wanted Jimbo Fisher. It's hard to imagine that happening now. And I've never seen a coach double down more on not going someplace. And I really believe, I talked to a guy who covers the Aggies yesterday, that some of this is contrived. That instead of spending the week talking about what a poor job Jimbo did against Ole Miss, they all collectively talked about how he's not going anywhere and how they're about to have the number one recruiting class in the country, which, good. I'm happy to see it. But I've never heard a school publicly get involved in this. I mean, the official school football site tweeted Jimbo's denial. The athletic director jumped in. You tell me, guys. Usually you can't get a school to acknowledge that their coach has ever looked at elsewhere, but this school is all in on Jimbo's not going to LSU.
Do you buy Lincoln Riley, downplaying the interest in the LSU job? I know he was asked about it yesterday. And what do you think the future is for him? Does he finally make the jump to the NFL, or do you think he just sticks it out at Oklahoma?
I can't believe under any circumstance why Lincoln Riley would leave Oklahoma to go to LSU. LSU is a great job, but so is Oklahoma. And to me, he just looks the part. You guys, if you look around the NFL, he looks like Kingsbury. He looks like McVay. I mean, to me, he would be perfect in the NFL, and I think he's waiting for that. I don't know. We all thought he would go to the Cowboys a couple of years ago. I mean, the Cowboys job could always be open. Maybe maybe that's still on his mind. But I thought he shot that one down pretty with an economy of words.
Yeah, no doubt about that. How bad of a loss was Auburn to Mississippi State, considering the lead that they had?
Pretty bad, but I think in sports, the worst thing you can do, it doesn't matter what the sport is to blow a big lead. It's just you get no credit for having the lead. You get all the blame for losing it. And 2 weeks ago, Brian Harsin was heading to College Station with an inside shot at maybe getting to the playoffs with some unbelievable things happening. And now the season is spiraling out of control, and there's no escape. And they lose not only the kicker, who's really high quality, but they lose their best player in Bo Nix, who much maligned, but still is somebody you need if you're going to win a big game like Alabama next week.
And then did Ole Miss show you anything that you didn't know? I mean, they have the 2 losses, but that's a pretty good win, even though it was at home. Pretty good win to take care of Texas A&M because they were surging.
It was a great win. That's a program that has never, I don't think, won 10 regular season games. We had obviously my dog is not an Ole Miss fan.
Apparently not.
He's an Aggie all the way. Lane was on our show yesterday, and he talked about how if a couple of receivers had not been hurt earlier, they could have done this. I mean, the Rebels losing at Auburn really cost them a chance to have a lot of playoff conversation. But it's still a great year at Ole Miss.
So that wasn't Smokey?
Yeah, I saw Smokey Saturday in Knoxville. I don't know if I've ever heard Smokey bark.
Yeah, I don't know. What are your conversations like with Lane? Because I mean, you have a pretty good BS meter, and we know that he's got a master's in that. But I mean, that's kind of his shtick.
Yeah, but he does it in such a low key, cerebral way. He's not a loud guy, and I've interviewed him a lot, and sometimes he can really be funny and in that kind of sarcastic way, and sometimes he just really you're going, are you there? I think he had a great weekend, though, the whole game day thing. I mean, he knows how to play. He's very smart. He's very aware. I mean, Lane Kiffin does not miss anything on social media. I often wonder when he has time to look at film, because I see him, popping up at weird hours of the night.
I've got to be honest. I've had those same thoughts, Paul, and I'm wondering, does he just have somebody on staff that literally monitors everything and presents it to him? Because I don't know how he does it. It does. I feel the same way. Like he misses nothing.
Yeah, I mean, you have to. I mean, unless you're 13 years old and you spend the entire day staring at a phone, I don't know how you keep up with all this stuff, because it moves so quickly. And yeah, I think he understands that where he's made mistakes in the past, and he's just extremely popular. And I don't know, where he fits into all these coaching jobs. I think he's a candidate for whatever job becomes open, but I'm not certain, especially at LSU. I think that job might be out of his realm. But other than that, I could see him getting offers.
Yeah, no doubt. Paul, we always enjoy the visit. Thanks, as always. Have a great show today. Have a great week. We'll do it next week.
I appreciate it, guys. See you next week.
All right, that is Paul Feinbaum. He is brought to you every Wednesday by mtgrt.com, your live and local mortgage expert. You say you've got something for ESPN Plus for us to discuss?
The coaching carousel.
Okay, I don't want to look, because that's what I want to know. I want to try to weigh in.
All the jobs that are open right now.
Ooh, okay. And so they are they're trying to connect dots. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
Ooh, I like that. That's right up
my
alley.
I was looking through it, and it's pretty interesting.
You sound a little nasally, you, a little stuffed.
Yeah, the weather can't decide what it wants to do.
I know.
And whenever that happens, that I get the sinuses. And
wait till tomorrow.
I know. I mean, it's just going to get worse. And, the world in which we live now, it's like, oh no, he's stuffed up. Like, what does that mean? It means sinuses. That's what it means. So.
Yeah, something you've dealt with most of your life. But
right. No, I'm good.
Okay.
Hanging in.
You're right. It will drop like 30 degrees tomorrow, though.
I know.
So I don't know if that helps you or hurts you. I don't know.
Well, it'll clear up some of the pollen and everything.
Yeah,
but,
true.
It just, the weather's drunk, so it just is what it is.
All right, we'll come back. We will discuss this article on ESPN Plus on the other side. Good stuff from Paul Feinbaum as always. Jim Wyatt coming up at 11 o'clock as you listen to Darren Donick and Chase, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
The voice of reason.
Now, you may say, well, a quarterback is more important than a running back. That's fine. You can say whatever you want.
The voice of the fan.
Even if we have to develop him while he's playing, I just want a boring first-round pick.
The voice of Nashville sports is your home of Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Another mild start this morning with temperatures in the 50s on our way to highs in the 70s with breezy conditions and increasing clouds throughout the day.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Hey, it's Jared from my friends at Edmunds. Thanks to Edmunds for sponsoring the show. Deals on new and used vehicles have been harder to find recently because of car shortages and increased demand. I think you don't want this stress of researching prices and budgeting. If you or your family or friends are in the market, you've got to use my friends at Edmunds. When I use the Edmunds website, it's very easy to find exactly what you're looking for. They have helpful filters so you can search by make, model, color, and you can find dealerships that are close to you and offering home delivery. And these days, you gotta love that. Over 50 years of car shopping advice and price guidance all in one place. Edmunds gives you resources for every part of the process of buying or selling a car. You can get a free online appraisal in under 1 minute with options for a real cash offer from a participating dealership. No personal information required. Car shopping can be stressful, and Edmunds is here to help. Visit Edmunds.com to get your free online appraisal today and start searching for vehicles in your area. That's EDMUNDS.com. For cars, there's Edmunds.
It's the official Bud Light Preds Watch Party as the Nashville Predators take on the Montreal Canadiens this Saturday. Puck drops at 6, but the party starts at 5:30 p.m. with all kinds of specials. See you at Headquarters Beer Cave, downtown Nashville on 2nd Avenue. Go Preds!
Hey, it's Jared from my official sportsbook app, the FanDuel Sportsbook app. The NFL season is giving us a big Week 11 divisional matchup between the Cardinals and Seahawks, and FanDuel Sportsbook is about to make it even bigger because FanDuel is giving new customers 30-1 odds on either team to win. That means you can win $150 on a $5 bet. I feel pretty good about Arizona and the way that they've been playing over the season. FanDuel is sports betting made simple, and they're always hooking you up with great offers. It's also America's #1 rated sportsbook app. It's easy to use, and it's safe and secure. And when you win, FanDuel will pay you in as little as 2 hours. Already a FanDuel Sportsbook user, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with $50 when you refer a friend. Plus, your friend will get $50 too. Just sign up with the promo code JGM this week before the Cardinals take on the Seahawks, and you can win $150 on a $5 bet. Remember to use promo code JGM so they know that I sent you. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. New users only. $10 first deposit required. Must wager in a designated offer market. Max bonus $150. Bonus for Tennessee users filled in site credit within 72 hours. Tennessee site credit expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
Tune in every Monday at 8 a.m. and Friday at 3:15 to hear News 2's Corey Curtis take on all things Nashville sports, including the week's NFL games. All brought to you by Invigorate Health in Mount Juliet. Look and feel your best with IV therapy, medical weight loss, testosterone, body shaping, and more.
Calling all sweet tooths. Head to Nashville Toffee Company, a place where rich, chocolatey daydreams are created from a secret family recipe generations in the making. Their toffees and candies are handcrafted in Nashville using all natural, kosher-certified ingredients. Sweet creamery butter, pure cane sugar, premium roasted nuts, deep rich chocolate, and sea salt. Visit NashvilleToffeeCompany.com or drop by their headquarters on Air Lane Drive for a positively hassle-free shopping experience. Whether you're buying for 1 or 100, Nashville Toffee Company is here to make your holiday gift-giving easy.
Robbie Stanley.
Coming in off the water. Yeah. Coming in there to tailgate.
Joe Rex Road.
That was fun.
Get your morning started with Robbie and Rex Road every weekday from 6 to 10. Presented by Volunteer State Bank on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Interact with Darren, Donick, and Chase. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Well, you can call anytime you want. Yes, 615-737-1025. That is our phone line. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Well, I mean, heck, Elijah, if you want people to call you, then be caller 5 right now, okay? And we'll give you a pair of tickets to see Three Dog Night at the Ryman. That'll be on November 24th. That's in, what, a week?
Yeah, that'll be a good show.
Elijah said call him, so call him. 615-737-1025. Be lucky caller 5. It pays to listen to the show. Good luck. You get to go to a cool show a week from today. All right, something else that's cool. Go to our website, thegamenashville.com. Hit /deals to check out Nashville's best deals. The deal this week is a $30 gift card for only $15 to Brooklyn Bowl. Tell you what, there's all kinds of cool things. By the way, they've got shows
really
there.
Good things.
They've got live shows there. I know. They've got lanes with an incredible view. Get your deal right now at thegamenashville.com /deals. And, you know, the cool thing is, you know, holidays are just around the corner. It'd be a cool gift.
Uh-huh.
Really cool gift.
It's hard to believe that the holidays are just around the corner, but there you go. The year has flown by.
The year indeed has flown by as the phones explode. But, yeah, seriously, go to our website. And if you're looking for an idea, something different, it's not just that one. Brooklyn Bowl, by the way, is right next door to First Horizon Park where the Sounds play. And you hear great things about it, but there's all kinds of deals on there. And I'm just telling you, it's a good gift idea, something different, a little outside-the-box thinking. Okay, kind of like ESPN Plus. I guess they've tried to do some outside-the-box thinking on connecting dots and who will land where.
Yep. So this is Adam Rittenberg and Chris Lowe, two of the best, and very well connected in the industry. So
they are.
They have the latest buzz on all the open jobs. So LSU, USC, Virginia Tech, Washington. We haven't really talked much about that, but that job is now open. TCU and Washington State. They also touch on Miami. How hot is that seat getting? And
Seems
then
like it's very hot.
I think so. And then some other moves in the Pac-12. Looks like that there could be more moves coming within the Pac-12. So let's start in the Pac-12 with Washington, as Jimmy Lake was fired a couple of days ago after just 2 seasons. They mention 2 names that they believe will get significant interest for that job.
Out west, I kind of feel like I never know where they're going, so lay it on me. I have no idea what Washington's thinking.
Dave Aranda and Matt Campbell.
Yeah, that's not happening. But why would Washington be the gig that finally gets Matt Campbell out of Ames, Iowa?
I don't know.
No offense, but, I mean, right? I mean, haven't there been bigger – I mean, I don't know. Have there been bigger schools that have won a Matt Campbell?
Yeah, I don't see it. Now they also add Kalani Sitake from BYU as being a potential candidate.
He's done a great job there.
He has 19-3 since the start of the 2020 season.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Chris Peterson is going to be involved in the search, but they also mention in here, it seems unlikely, but would Washington not be foolish to at least ask him back? I mean, he's been around. He's been advising the program, but I feel like he's done. He's got a TV gig.
Mm-hmm.
So they throw his name out there. Jay Norvell is another one from Nevada.
Brother of Mike Norvell?
I don't know if they're I have no idea if they're related or not. But yeah, Nevada's head coach.
Okay.
Thrown in there. TCU. There's really only one major name connected to this job.
To TCU. By the way, how long was Patterson there? He was there a long time.
Long time. 260 and 181 at TCU.
And there's only one name.
I mean, there's a couple that are mentioned, but
they're saying this is your leader in the clubhouse.
Mm-hmm.
By far.
And I'll give you it's a name that has been out there for a while. They mentioned Billy Napier.
Oh, it's good. Well, okay, that's
but it's not Billy Napier that I'm talking about.
We're just going to name Billy Napier to every coach.
Sonny Dykes.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, they say the TCU search is believed to be focused on SMU's Sonny Dykes until diverted elsewhere. Although SMU is set to give Dykes an enhanced contract to stay, the school can't offer the advantages of playing in a Power 5 conference that TCU can.
Isn't Sonny Dykes intriguing?
Because
here's what I don't understand. Did he not do a good job at La Tech?
I think he did a fine job.
Did he not do a good job at Cal?
Yep.
Well, so why is he like 2 or 3 years and out? What are we not? I mean, what am I missing on Sonny Dykes? Like, he does a good job, and then within 3 years he's out every stop. Why?
I don't know.
I mean, he had an 8-5 season at Cal, which this just in. Last time I checked, Cal's not been a powerhouse in a while or ever.
I don't think Cal's.
They've had really good players come through there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we know that. But, I mean, it's not like they're a juggernaut in the Pac-10 or Pac-12, whatever it's been over the years. But 8-5 and you won the bowl game? I mean, that's a pretty big deal. At La Tech, he was there 3 years. Last 2 seasons went 8-5 and 9-3. Okay, this just in. And he's already had a 10-win season at SMU, and looks like he's well on his way to another 10-win season at SMU. But why doesn't he ever stay anywhere very long?
I don't know.
I guess it should be more like 3 or 4 years. It's like 4 years, even though at SMU he has, I think this is year 5, I think. So this is actually the longest stint. It's like he went 3 years at La Tech. Okay, stepping stone job, bounce to the next gig. Okay, Power 5 school, go to Cal. Cal, 4 years, which, like I said, I thought he did a good job there. I don't know what Cal's expectations are. I mean,
I think Cal has unrealistic expectations.
Well, clearly. I mean, I think.
I don't think that's it's not a bad job. I don't
how
think
have they done
since
Sonny Dykes?
Not well. I don't know their record, but I mean, you never hear anything on them.
Well, I can tell you real quick, and now he's in year 5 doing a great job at SMU. But I'm going to get you what he's done at Cal, or what Cal has done since him, because it wasn't good enough when he was there, but yet they're
3-6 right now.
So let me give you, since he's been gone, 5-7. No, let's see. That was his last year. Okay, so since post Sonny Dykes, looks like Justin Wilcox is the guy who's been there the whole time since him. So Justin Wilcox has gone 5-7, 7-6, 8-5, and last year they were 1-3. They only played 4 games, and this year they're not very good. I mean, is that worse than Sonny Dykes?
No, I don't think so.
Or is that better than Sonny Dykes? I mean, I just, like I said, I don't know what Cal is. So what do we not know? Is there something about Sonny Dykes behind the scenes, that we don't know? But anyway.
Well, does he fall in that category of, some coaches that it just, you got the 3 to 4 year window and then it gets
kind of wear out their welcome?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
But I know he is the top target for TCU is what it appears to be.
That makes a ton of sense.
Yeah. Knows the area, so that would make sense. All right, LSU. This is a funny quote from an industry source. Once Scott, the athletic director, finally gives up on Jimbo, he doesn't have many obvious choices. Do you look at Matt Campbell? Can you hire Lane? Billy Napier is probably your basement. For LSU.
Sure, Billy Napier appreciates that.
Yeah, I don't view him as that. But Kiffin's the interesting one. Does Kiffin, with what he's done at Ole Miss, is that where it eventually goes, that LSU turns to somebody like him? Mel Tucker's name is continued to be mentioned just because of his connections. Mm-hmm. Another possibility is Alabama offensive coordinator Bill O'Brien.
At where?
LSU.
That's, okay.
Not going to happen.
Okay.
Not going to happen.
Can you imagine? What would the reaction be?
Oh, everybody would go, what? You fired Coach O for Billy O? Like, I think that's what it would be. There'd be uproar for that.
So you get...
And Dave Aranda is, of course, connected
Coach
to
O, who's one of them, right? I mean, there's nobody that's going to relate to that fan base better than him to just cold and frigid Bill O'Brien.
Yeah.
Crusty Bill O'Brien. Well, that would be quite the change. You better do a whole lot of winning really fast.
I don't see it.
Because he's not going to get brownie points for likability.
All right, USC.
Okay.
The name's
is it Jimmy or James?
Yep. He's one.
Okay.
There's another big one.
Bob Stoops?
No. Not Bob Stoops.
We haven't brought him up in a while.
The names being mentioned most continue to be Campbell, Aranda, James Franklin, and there's a big one. Luke Fickell.
Oh.
Fickell is in the strongest position to land the job, and not only because USC athletic director Mike Bohn hired him at Cincinnati. His stock couldn't be higher after getting Cincinnati in position to challenge for a playoff spot. While Fickell is rooted in his home state of Ohio and soon will lead a Big 12 program if he stays at Cincinnati, he might be more open to taking an elite level job in a very winnable league such as the Pac-12. An industry source said, quote, he might have to take it. They also say Aranda is perhaps the only realistic USC candidate with Southern California roots as he grew up in Redlands, California. Franklin's name has been tied to USC the longest. He seems like a good fit for the program, the environment, and for Bohn. Quote, if AD Sandy Barber has to kick a few more dollars to keep James happy and keep him there at Penn State, she'll do that, an industry source said.
There's your example of a guy that it's got like a 5-year window, and then it could be time to move on to the next thing.
Yeah. we've covered a lot of the candidates for Virginia Tech: Chadwell, Dave Clawson, Brent Venables, Mike Elko, Tony Elliott.
Yep.
Shane
Basically
Beamer.
the list we ran. We read yesterday.
Hugh Freeze is on there. Washington State. It looks like they'll probably stick with the interim that they have there. But here's the more moves coming to the Pac-12. This is what I wanted to share here. So Chip Kelly seems to be safe because he's got him bowl eligible. Things are finally starting to turn around at UCLA. But I found this to be interesting. The Arizona State job is being watched by coaches and agents. There are even some whispers about Utah coach Kyle Whittingham and potential retirement. If Mario Cristobal were to leave Oregon, the league would have most or all of its top-end jobs open. One name to keep in mind is Auburn coach Brian Harsin. While leaving Auburn after 1 year would be stunning, Harsin has waited at Boise State for top Pac-12 jobs. Now they're opening. Would he consider a chance to return to more familiar territory?
I would say the way this first year has gone, I wouldn't rule it out.
Yeah.
Now that he's been, in the eye of the storm and understands the lay of the land and really, truly how it works there, how many people want to sign up for that year in and year out at Auburn?
Yeah, I don't
Can you ever
so.
keep him happy? I mean, the answer is no.
And if that's where Arizona State's interesting because I think Herm's done a fine job there and surprised a lot of people, including us. Like I wasn't sure on that when they hired him, but if that job opens up, if Cristobal leaves for something else, which I feel like he's one of those that he's always mentioned but never does anything. Like it just, and I don't really know. I mean, I guess the stock's high, but he doesn't blow me away. Joe Moorhead's name is batted about with some of these mid-tier jobs, who's the OC there at Oregon. But that could be interesting if the Pac-12 has a lot of things open.
Yeah.
So
I also think there's some interesting games this week.
Yeah. Not as much in
Utah is favored over Oregon. Anybody catch that? That's the game Saturday night on ABC.
Yeah, I did see that. Not a ton in the SEC, but Michigan State, Ohio State's obviously interesting. Wake Forest, Clemson, just because Wake needs to continue that momentum.
Mm-hmm. They could make things interesting.
They could definitely make things interesting.
They win that game, they could make things really interesting.
SMU, Cincinnati. I mean, Cincinnati's got to have a signature, if you want to call it that, win. But I mean, SMU's 8-2.
Yeah, no,
they
it's
have
better
Notre
than
Dame.
what they've been playing. So
yeah, but I mean, they got to take care of business there.
Did you see where Eddie George and the Tigers are going to be?
Yeah, they're going to be in Starkville.
They're going to be in Starkville, taking on Mississippi State.
Mm-hmm. I think that'll be good. Good test for them.
Oklahoma.
Mississippi State has surprised me because
Yeah.
I just didn't think they were very good, and they have definitely done some things.
Well, I mean, they're 6-4, and they've got a chance. I'd say 8-win season. They got to be. That's including a bowl game because I don't know if they're going to. I don't think they're going to beat Ole Miss in the Egg Bowl. But you also never know when that game happens. You just never know.
Yeah.
These
rivalry games, you never know.
It gets crazy. Crazy,
I mean,
crazy.
Auburn could upset Alabama and screw everything up. You never know. I don't think that's going to happen.
No, that could happen, though. I think after this weekend, it's going to be a whole lot of fun, right?
Yeah.
Because there's going to be some fantastic matchups to close out the month of November. Great matchup, so we'll see. Congratulations to Connie Winfrey. Connie was lucky caller 5. Go enjoy that show next week at the Ryman. Thanks for listening. We'll come back. We'll start hour number 2 with Jim Wyatt. We'll talk a little bit about the Titans, talk about what they're going to be doing at Nissan Stadium on Sunday other than hosting the Texans. A lot of things to get into with Jim, and we'll do that next here on Darren Donick and Chase, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
The MTSU Blue Raiders live here.
Down, Middle Tennessee! 3-ball, yes, sir!
And when you're in the borough, tune us in on 97.5.
In the end zone, caught, touchdown!
We are Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
These are battles, these are grinds. We don't panic, we don't freak out. That's how we're built. 1, 2, 3, 9.
This is The Drive to the Playoffs, brought to you by Coleman Tractor on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game in the Game Nashville app.
The Tennessee Titans are 8-2 and sit atop of the AFC, despite all of the injuries they've suffered so far this season. According to head coach Mike Vrabel, this type of success is a result of the culture that they've built in that program over time.
Yeah, I think the most important thing, though, Emily, is not just playing football, right? Everybody loves to play football. It's all the other stuff that goes along with it that sometimes is hard. Most of the time is hard. Practicing, preparing, not feeling great. The whole process of the week that leads up to it, or training camp, or the off season, that's all the stuff that that you don't really want to love, but you have to love it because you want to make sure that you're ready to go for the season and for your team. And that's important when we bring guys in. I think that the more people that we have in our locker room and around our building that have those types of attitudes, that when somebody does come in from somewhere else, that they quickly realize how we do things, and then we hope that they adapt quickly.
I'm Elijah Campbell, and this is your Drive to the Playoffs update here on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Last year, Nashville SC shattered the expectations in Major League Soccer.
Nashville SC dumping Toronto out of the playoffs.
Now they're back for more. Nashville SC is back in the Audi MLS Cup playoffs, and you can cheer for the boys in gold here at Nissan Stadium. Get your tickets now for round 1 to see Nashville SC face off against Orlando City SC on November 23rd at 7 p.m. Tickets start at just $24, so come be a part as the boys in gold look to bring a championship to Nashville. Get your tickets at NashvilleSC.com/tickets. Everyone in.
Are you a father that is passionate about your fundamental constitutional right to parent your own child or children? Has your parenting time or your income been affected by COVID? This is Amanda J. Gentry, and I am a fierce defender of your constitutional rights. The courts in Tennessee are under an obligation to maximize equal parenting time. We do not live in an every other weekend world anymore. At the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, fathers are extremely important, much like my own father was. Go to AmandaJGentry.com or call or text 615-604-6263. That's AmandaJGentry.com.
Do you really want to go through another year with that awful joint pain? Well, don't do it. Resolve right now to get yourself moving again for 2022. Willie Donick here. It's time to call the folks at QC Kinetics. Non-surgical regenerative treatments for joint pain. We're talking lasting results using natural biologics. No surgery, no pain meds, no steroids, and no downtime. This is really exciting stuff. Regenerative, restorative treatments that actually encourage your body to heal itself using highly concentrated natural biologics. Patients rave about it for hip pain relief, knee pain relief, shoulder and back pain relief. Don't let them give you the steroids. Don't let them tell you your surgery is the only option. Get a free second opinion at QC Kinetics and do it now. And imagine life in 2022 without pain. Call the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics. 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024 for QC Kinetics.
312 Pizza Company is family-owned and operated, bringing you a slice of Chicago to Nashville. 312 Pizza Company specializes in deep dish pizza, thin crust pizza, and all things Chicago style. Always made from scratch using secret family recipes passed down generation to generation. 312 Pizza is open every day except for Tuesdays and is located in Germantown with dine-in, takeout, and curbside available. Call 615-730-7888 to order 312 Pizza Company, Nashville's authentic Chicago pizzeria.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's time for Darren, Donick, and Chase. With hosts Darren McFarland, Willie Donick, and Chase McCabe. On Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
Second hour, Darren, Donick, and Chase here on this Wednesday. Hope everybody's having a good day thus far. Darren McFarland and Chase McCabe with you. Let's start the hour talking some Tennessee Titans. The 8-2 Tennessee Titans, a guy who's been covering them for a long time. Now you can find his work at TennesseeTitans.com. He's Jim Wyatt. He's on the line with us. Jim, it's going to be a special day on Sunday as the Titans host the Texans. One, it's an opportunity to grab another win and get to 9-2 on the season. But the festivities that will take place certainly are near and dear to our hearts here at 102.5 The Game. And two guys are going to get recognized and honored that you worked closely with for many, many years when you were on the beat at the Tennessean.
Yes, it will be a special day. And I just talked to Jeff Fisher about 30, 45 minutes ago just about his feelings on the subject and how excited he is about coming back and all the memories that will, be stirred up inside of him when he's putting the ring of honor. And I wish I could talk to Floyd Reese. I mean, that's the sad part about it, that he's not going to be here to kind of experience it for himself. I was able to talk to his wife, Sally, on Monday just about her feelings and the legacy that he left behind, which was a great one. Both of these gentlemen so deserving of being put in a situation where they're going to be remembered forever. They were going to be anyway, but the fact that they're in the Ring of Honor, I think this gives you a chance to further celebrate what they did. Both of them had such a big role in really helping put the Titans on the map. Floyd with his talent, in evaluating talent and finding the right players to build the culture and the program here, and then Jeff Fisher with the ability to kind of coach them and be such a great person in drumming up interest in the community and the fan base. So, and they did it together. So it's fitting that they are going to be recognized together. Just wish again that Floyd was going to be here, for the big day, because I think probably as you get older and you look back when you're in the minute and in the moment working, you're just trying to win a game, trying to build a roster. It's just life consuming, and I'm sure it was for those guys now. And then once your career's over with and you look back, I think you realize just how impactful that was. And fans will get a chance to celebrate them, and I know Floyd will be looking down. Probably with a smile on his face.
No doubt. And this is really like the second wave in Titans history since they've been in this market, because after Jeff Fisher and Floyd Reese, there was a real dip, a lull in the franchise's history here, and a lot more bad times than good times. And this is kind of where the wave has come back around, where there's been a whole lot of success in the last 5 years. And so, and it's interesting because, you wouldn't compare Mike Vrabel to Jeff Fisher, right? They're different. They operate in a different fashion, but they both got results. Floyd and John Robinson, I think Floyd, John Robinson, Floyd was probably much more of a mentor for John Robinson, but I would think they're a little bit closer, maybe. Still think there's big differences. I don't know how you think. I want you to weigh in on it. But it is interesting because this is kind of like the second wave, the next time that they've been really good where they've been able to sustain it since Jeff Fisher and Floyd Reese weren't running things.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they Floyd and Jeff, I mean, they had a great window, created such a great window for this franchise to win Super Bowls and to really have some memorable years. And, that resulted in 2 AFC championship game appearances. It resulted in a Super Bowl appearance. It resulted in some marquee players getting recognition, whether that's from Pro Bowl seasons or all pro seasons. And really the Titans were a true contender for a long stretch there when the team first moved to Nashville. And now you look at what John Robinson and Mike Vrabel have been able to do. We're back in one of those windows where, you're going to the playoffs and going to AFC championship games. You've got a legitimate chance to get to a Super Bowl and to win one, and you're doing it with some elite talent that are really have become household names, not only in Nashville but across the country. So, and I look at the way these Titans play, and it reminds me of some of those teams, just with the kind of tough, hard-nosed approach, ability to win close games, finding a way to win. I see some similarities certainly from that era from 99 to 2003 that went beyond that, but that was the height of it. And I think we're right in the middle of and hopefully it will extend for years to come, but I think we're certainly at the beginning of a long stretch here in Nashville where you're seeing the similar things.
Have you tried to figure out how Mike Vrabel and his staff are doing this? Because at times it's mind-blowing. I mean, we talk about this team so much every week, and it seems like other than the results, not much goes their way, right? Every time you think, well, okay, so-and-so's out, it's time for this, it's time for Julio Jones to get back in the mix, and, he's not back in the mix. Okay, Bud Dupree's coming along finally. Man, he's just going to get better and better every week. Oh, now he's out with an abdominal strain. How long is that going to be? It's just like one hit at, the Derrick Henry goes without saying, but it's like one hit after another, and yet this team just continues to chug along and just keep winning games. And at times I keep scratching my head going, how in the hell are they doing this?
It really is remarkable. I mean, and Dylan Cole, maybe the latest example, a guy nobody heard of until Sunday, and then he makes, a big hit and forces a fumble in what turned out to be one of the bigger plays of the game that got him an early touchdown, and the Titans end up holding on. And that's kind of been happening all year. I mean, guys have gone down, other guys have stepped up. You do have to wonder how much more you can take. I mean, this is an offense, again, that's now without Derrick Henry, without Julio Jones. We've seen this offensive line, get banged up and had guys had to step in. And defensively certainly have taken some losses as well and have played well during a really, really difficult stretch. You hope that, that these injuries will slow down and they'll quit happening. And then as the season goes on, you'll start getting guys back and they can stay back. But, it really has been incredible. And I think that's just part of the culture that John Robinson and Mike Vrabel have created, where they don't want to hear about excuses. They expect guys when they're called upon to do their job, and that has been happening. And I think that's a sign of a really good team.
All right, I'm going to put you on the spot, and you can talk it through out loud because I'm putting you on the spot because you haven't had time to think about it. Okay, let's. I'm going to ask you some difficult positions to hand out a first half award because of all the turnover and injuries and everything that we just talked about. So let's start with the offensive line. If you had to pick one offensive lineman to give, to basically say he was your first half MVP, where would you go with that?
I would probably go Ben Jones just because I always think he's maybe the most underrated guy on that line, and he just consistently plays through injuries and kind of is a tone setter on that group. They've had, again, guys in and out. They've had guys deal with injuries, but, Ben has been there all the way through and is, again, I think he's one of these guys that people look to, just a tough-minded player, and I think he's played well too. So I'm going Ben Jones on the O-line.
Okay. Who is your first half MVP at linebacker?
I would have to say David Long, and I know he's one of these guys that's been injured right now, and I'm talking inside backer now, because if you're talking outside backer, I don't know how we couldn't go with Harold Landry, but inside backer, I'd say David Long leads the team in tackles, has just consistently made plays.
Yeah, I want to kind of lump like D-line and defensive end, so I kind of want to consider outside linebacker more DN because I wanted to lump them together. So let's go there then. So everybody on the defensive line lumped together. Who's your first half MVP?
Yeah, this is the toughest one yet because you got a guy in Jeffrey Simmons who has just been really, really disruptive. 5 sacks in the last 2 games, but I think I'd have to go Harold Landry because he's been sitting here at 10 sacks after 10 games, just consistently been a guy that puts pressure on the quarterback. I'd have to go Landry there.
Okay. Not named Kevin Byard, not Bayard. Who would be your first half MVP in the secondary, not named Byard?
Yeah, that was going to be a layup for me there, but just to get Byard out of the equation. I think it still is. I'm going Kristen Fulton there. Even though he's been hurt and missed some time, I'm also basing it on what I've seen so far and projecting what I think is going to happen moving forward.
Okay, that's an interesting one. All right, first half MVP at tight end.
I think you'd have to go. I would have thought it would be Anthony Ferkser, but he just hasn't been as productive. I have to say Jeff Swaim, which is a surprising pick just because he's been called upon to do more, and I think he's been pretty good.
Okay. Yeah. I think, honestly, I think my answer would be Michael Pruitt. I think he has been, for them to get him back and what he's done, I tell you what, I've been really impressed with him. So I think both answers are good ones, but I'd probably go Pruitt. Okay. How about first half MVP at wide receiver?
A.J. Brown.
Still A.J. Brown, okay. I thought about taking him out, but I'm like, but he's also been hurt a lot. And, I just wanted to see where you would go with that. So you still say A.J. Brown?
Yeah, because I just don't know who you go in his place. I mean, it can't be Julio Jones. It can't be Josh Reynolds, who's no longer here.
So can we take him out? Let's take him out. Who would you answer if I said you can't say Brown? Who would you answer with?
I'd probably say Nick Westbrook-Akina, even though his stats are somewhat, they don't jump off the page at you. But I think as far as guys that have just stepped up for you and been pretty consistent, I think that's where I would go.
Jim Wyatt is with us, TennesseeTitans.com. Marcus Johnson has also been impressive. When his numbers called last week, he had the 100-yard day receiving. I've been impressed with him.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he was the best. He was really the team's best receiver during training camp. And I kind of thought that days like we saw on Sunday were going to be happening a lot early. One reason or another, that didn't happen. He was dealing with the injury himself. He was dealing with him trying to really get Julio Jones in the mix, and that just never really took. But I think now that he's going to be settled in for a while with Julio out, I expect Marcus Johnson to be a big factor here in the weeks to come. Really like him, I think, and I think obviously Tannehill has a lot of confidence in him as well.
I'm curious to see what happens with Des Fitzpatrick too. Now that he's gotten another chance, he's back on the roster. He had the one catch for no yards, but I think we had Teron Davenport on Monday, and he said for him it's all about confidence and just building up his confidence, and that's honestly what I want to see. But I still think there's some talent there. It's just you got to figure out how to tap that. Yeah,
I agree, and a lot. It's about confidence, and then it's about opportunities, and I think his confidence is growing. Everybody was kind of raving, and I think you treat guys. You kind of try to find what guys react to. I mean, obviously he struggled when he first got here, and I think he was maybe feeling the pressure a little bit. Vrabel, I think at some point during camp said he needed to step it up or need to see more out of him, and then he got released and put back to the practice squad. And I think a lot of people felt like he was a bust or felt like he was failing to live up to expectations, and then he just continue to kind of work on the practice squad, and he has gotten better. I do think, there were a lot of people raving about him last week, from Vrabel to teammates, and I think that's the approach they're trying now, is to try to build him up and to try to get him feeling good about himself. I don't know that he's going to, I'm not necessarily expecting him to be a huge factor down the stretch, but he is a guy that they can maybe count on in certain situations to make some plays for him, and I think that's a step in the right direction.
I know Mike was asked about this, I think, last week, but do you feel that they need either Foreman, McNichols, or Peterson to kind of take the reins and be the lead back, or do you think that this running back by committee is working well enough that, as Foreman and Peterson especially get comfortable in the offense, that they can just get by with that?
Yeah, I think that's the way it's going to be for the time being until somebody really establishes themselves. I personally think it'd be better off if they did have one back who got to work, got the majority of the workload, just because you can get some chemistry and I think it helps everybody when you kind of have one guy in there like Derek. There's not going to be another Derek, but I think if you have one player who gets into a little bit of a rhythm, that's better. But until that happens, and certainly it hasn't happened yet, I think you're going to see more of a running back by committee approach. I think McNichols is probably always going to end up being that third down situational back. So I think it's either Foreman or Peterson that's going to potentially evolve into a heavier workload. And based on what I've seen so far, I think Foreman is probably the guy who I think is in a position to do that right now. But I do think Peterson will get better the more comfortable he gets, the more better condition he gets. So I'm kind of anxious to see it, and I'm anxious to see these guys. Both these guys have faced really good run defenses the last 2 weeks in the Rams and the Saints. So now that the schedule's changed and the defense are changing, I'm really curious to see how this is going to look.
Last one for you. Derek Roberson activated off IR with the uncertainty with Bud Dupree and his abdominal injury. How big is it to have Roberson back?
I think it's big. He was one of the guys that stood out to me a lot during the preseason as well. Kind of like Marcus Johnson. I thought he was good in camp. They raved about him. Then he had a setback, and he's kind of been working his way back ever since. How much he'll be needed kind of remains to be seen. A lot's going to hinge on Bud, but I think just the more guys you can kind of get in a rotation, the more you can spell guys, the better off you are. And he's capable of making some splash plays and getting in the backfield a little bit himself. So that's a good development.
Well, Jim, I appreciate the time, Bo.
Okay, I love hearing the Bo. Yeah, that's how certainly how Floyd pretty much referred to anybody, and certainly missed him.
The first time he called me Chase, I thought I'd won something. I was like, man, I'm in now. I'm in with the GM. He knows my name.
Well, he called me a lot of things when I was covering the beat for the Tennessee, and some of them weren't great. But you have a good week. Thank you.
Jim Wyatt, TennesseeTitans.com. And if you have not read his article at TennesseeTitans.com, he has a great interview with Sally, Floyd's wife, and really good stuff on the late, great GM Floyd Reese. We'll have more coming here on the other side of Darren, Donick, and Chase, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
That's the way to win. Took everybody. We found a way to win. Let's go. Titans on 3. 1, 2, 3. Titans.
The Red Hot Titans sit atop the AFC with an 8-2 record.
It is pretty incredible that they just continue to find ways to win.
Your home of the best Titans coverage.
This is how the Titans are going to have to win games.
Is Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Celebrate Thanksgiving with Social Furniture and save up to 70% off all furniture. They have sofas, sectionals with chase lounge, and recliners that are all push-button electric and wall away. They have all colors to choose from for your comfort watching any hockey game. All of them are plus leather, microfiber, and Chanel's. They have same-day delivery with no down payments and no interest. Forget the big box store. Support local. Support social. Social Furniture is a proud supporter of your Nashville Predators. Bode Nashville puts you in a chic and stylish downtown Nashville hotel, walking distance to some of Music City's most popular spots. Working with local partners, they introduce you to the city, its craft, and its tastes. From their porch coffee and marketplace, serving local coffee from Stay Golden, to their in-house cocktail bar, Sidebar. Bode Nashville is a perfect spot for your pregame or nightcap and citywide adventure in between. Connect to Music City, its culture, its craft, and each other at Bode Nashville at 401 2nd Avenue South in Sobro.
Are you interested in starting your own business? Join the Blink Law Entrepreneur Summit on February 2nd for their one-day event to help anyone start a business. Not only will you hear from experienced entrepreneurs from a variety of fields, but all attendees will also get a one-on-one consultation with an attorney who will register your business. You will leave the event with certified documents and an officially registered business. This is a great opportunity for anyone who wants to jumpstart a new business. For more information and to register, go to facebook.com/BlinkLawLLC.
Your home value is way up. Why not use it to make your home even nicer with a new kitchen or bathroom? Hey, Willie here. So many of our listeners are doing this with Loan Pronto, thanks to their zero-cost cash-out refi program. Call Loan Pronto now. They're fast-tracking home refis for the year-end, and people are getting checks for 60, 70, 100 grand or more. It's fast and easy. It's your money, money you can use to add even more value to your home. Imagine 2022 with that all-new luxurious kitchen you've been dreaming about. Or start building that pool so it's going to be ready for the summer. Call Loan Pronto now. See how easy it is to use the equity in your home and walk away with the big check. They can even pay your closing costs, and you can skip your next 2 house payments. Call 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. Not all loans apply.
Love thy neighbor, like Neighbors Nashville, founded and operated by former Titans standout Zach Piller. Neighbors Germantown and Neighbors Sylvan Park have been a fixture in the community for years and is open and ready to serve you in their legendary atmosphere, sure to deliver a one-of-a-kind experience for everyone. Both locations are open Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 3 a.m., and Saturdays and Sundays, 10 a.m. to 3 a.m., with happy hour specials weekdays from 3 to 7. Go check out Neighbors, the best sports entertainment bar in Nashville.
This Saturday,
it's Williams running, touchdown, Oklahoma.
Blocked and Hall finds the end zone.
It's a Big 12 showdown from Norman as the Oklahoma Sooners take on the Iowa State Cyclones.
Someone said football, so I come running.
Coverage begins at 10:30
on ESPN,
102.5 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, Nashville, this is Dan Lovitz. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Tune in Friday from 5 to 7 for Floyd Reese, a true Titan, honoring the legacy of Floyd Reese as the Titans' former general manager as he gets inducted into the Ring of Honor at Nissan Stadium this Sunday. The special will feature some of the biggest names in franchise history who knew Floyd as well as anyone. Friday's tribute to Floyd Reese is brought to you by Neighbors Nashville. Neighbors is the best sports entertainment bar in Nashville with locations in Germantown, Sylvan Park, and coming soon to Franklin. And I have seen some of the names that are going to be a part of this, and let me tell you, it is something you are not going to want to miss. I know Jared has put a lot of hard work into this. It's very special for him, obviously spending so many years co-hosting alongside Floyd, but it's going to be really cool. So 5 to 7 on Friday, you can check out Floyd Reese, a true Titan, as he will go into the Ring of Honor on Sunday. And I'll tell you this, I know that we've talked about it, that the end with Jeff Fisher and with Floyd Reese didn't go well, but the fact that they're going in together, I mean, it makes a lot of sense because they were the architects of this, moving the team from Houston, becoming the Tennessee Titans, making the run to the Super Bowl like they did, coming very, very close to winning the whole thing, and then it just the years after that. And so I think that it just makes a lot of sense, and I know there's going to be a lot of people there for both of them, and just happy for Sally and the family. And I echo what Jim said. I wish Floyd could be here to witness it, but I know he's going to be looking down. So we're all excited here as his teammates at 102.5 The Game to see him get that honor. But The Titans also have a game that they're going to play, Darren, and this is one that you put in the a few weeks ago you guys gave me a hard time because I said they should beat the Colts. I think it's pretty clear they should beat the Texans. I think I'm allowed to say that.
No, this game applies. Yeah, this game applies. Yeah, there's trouble in paradise if they lose this game. Like, you can't. Even with all that being said, I understand the injuries that they dealt with and this murder's row of a schedule that they've just gone through with this 6-game winning streak, but you can't. Like, you can't lose this game. I know it's the NFL. We got all the cliches, every given Sunday, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You can't lose this one. Like, we have to be talking about a 9-2 team. I don't care if it's pretty or not. I've been pretty consistent with that for all the people, it wasn't a pretty win, but a win is a win. You got to get the dub, but, it doesn't have to be, everything doesn't have to be something on the cover of a magazine. Everything doesn't have to look like the runway model.
Yeah, that's
Just
okay.
saying.
Just get the dub.
Right. A win is a win.
Floyd used to say that. Floyd used to say, hey, we got the win. That's all that matters.
And truly it is, because there's not the last time I checked, there's not a college football committee. There's not an NFL committee
style
that
points.
judges you every week like you won, but man, the Saints missed the 2-point conversion. They could have tied it up, and I don't know. We're kind of it was a win, but we weren't that impressed. And meanwhile, Buffalo had a really impressive, they blew them out. It's like, you don't have to fool with the committee in the NFL. Just take care of business. By the way, we'll have our NFL rankings, our latest edition, top 10 tomorrow on the program. There'll be some movement.
I'm looking forward to that.
Well, what I'd love about this, and we started doing this last year, is just watching and going back, because I keep the results every week. And so I just like to see where, because you are just not going to like college football. Basically, that was non-eventful, right? Last night. Pretty much you kind of knew how it was going to play out last night. Like, there wasn't much, like, whoa, wow, okay. Oh, Cincinnati State 5, everything just kind of stayed status quo. Oklahoma fell down because they lost, but they were already 8th. No real cooler talk at all. But when you do these NFL rankings and go back and look at ours, it's all over the place. Like, it changes every week. There has not been a status quo week yet. We've done it for 3 weeks, right?
Uh-huh.
Like last week, let's see, we have yet to have the same number one following week.
I don't think I've had the same number one.
Yeah, the following week, the number one has changed every week. Every week, number 2 has changed every week.
Yep. I think number 3 has changed for me every week.
Let's see. 3 has changed. No. Yes. 3. Everybody's 3 has changed every week. Yeah.
My top 5
that's what's
has
fun
changed
about
every week. Like my entire top 5 has changed pretty much every week.
Yeah.
So.
And I think that's the fun part about doing it, because the NFL is so hard to predict, and it's so hard to see how it plays out, and there's just constant movement, and we'll do that tomorrow and see the constant movement. Okay, how would you answer some of those first half MVP questions that I threw out?
Yeah.
What did you differ on? What were you surprised by an answer that he had and feel differently?
Offensive line, I think Ben Jones is probably the right one, but I was going to say Quesenberry's done a pretty good job.
That's what I was like.
That would have probably been my answer.
Gets it for probably being the guy that, has been dealing with stuff banged all year and just keeps going out there and playing every week. And so, like, Warrior, yes, and he plays an important position at center. So it's like the quarterback of the O-line. So, yes, I get all that, but I think you could make a case for Quesenberry. I definitely think you can make a case for. In fact, I wanted to see if he would go there, because I probably would go there.
Yeah, I'll say Quesenberry. I would answer Quesenberry. Tight end. I mean, tight end is such a tough one, but I'm with you, Michael Pruitt. I think Michael Pruitt has been a huge, a huge addition, for this team, or re-addition, I guess is the way you can put it, to get him back. So I would have done that. Receiver's tough because I don't know. I honestly think that that's incomplete. I mean, you go A.J. Brown by default, and he has made some big catches.
Yeah.
But he's also dropped some big ones. He's played through some pain, and, I don't think he's been 100%, the whole time. But you can also, Nick Westbrook-Akina was a good one that, he's just steady Eddie. That's what he has been. But Marcus Johnson's looked good, and so that one was a tough one. Let's see. Secondary, Christian Fulton outside of Kevin Byard. I agree with that because they missed him, and I think that's the definition of an MVP, of when a guy is out of the lineup and you just see how much he's missed.
Yeah.
You can certainly make an argument there. Because
what about Amani Hooker? He's pretty darn important
but
when he's in there.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they've missed him too.
Yep.
When he's been hurt. So that's a good one.
I probably would. I don't think there's anything wrong with Chris. I think that's probably the right answer, but I would have Amani Hooker like right behind him.
Yeah. I think there's certainly a case for that. Landry, I have no qualms about. David Long, I have no qualms about. I mean, those are pretty easy. I mean, Jeffrey Simmons certainly deserves a look, but Jeffrey Simmons has really come on in the last few weeks. Like the last handful of games, we've really seen him. I mean, there was a time we were talking like, hey, what's going on with Jeffrey Simmons? Now, I think he was creating opportunity for others. He wasn't getting the sacks. He wasn't getting the numbers. But I think he was making some things happen for other people. So that certainly gets consideration. But, I mean, Landry's leading the team in sacks, and this team has an opportunity to have two guys get double-digit sacks for the first time since they've been in Nashville.
I don't want to take anything away from Harold Landry at all because it's been a great story and he's not done. But I ask you this. Would Harold Landry's numbers look the same if Jeffrey Simmons wasn't in the lineup?
Oh, that's a very good point. That's what I was just saying too. So that is a –
because I would tell you my MVP is Jeffrey Simmons because I think when you have a disruptor like that, and I saw this with Albert Hainsworth, it's amazing all of a sudden the production you can get out of the Travis LeBoys, right? These type of guys that just – and I'm not taking anything, but Kyle Vanden Bosch. These guys benefited from having a absolute disturber up the middle that disrupts a lot of things and makes a lot of things happen up the middle, which creates opportunities for them. And I think when you don't have that, it's amazing how you see their production go down. I don't want to take anything away from Harold Landry. I think he's had an unbelievable year, and I don't think he's done. He never comes off the field, and he has been really, really important to the defense and the turnaround of the defense. But I would probably take Big Jeff.
Okay. No, I mean, I think there's certainly a fair argument for either one of them. Let's see. What have I missed?
David Long. See, I think what's interesting is think about these answers that we're throwing out there. Let's go back 10 weeks. We're the week of the start of the season. We're in the week of them hosting Arizona. And we're talking about the offensive line MVP is going to be either Ben Jones or David Quesenberry. We would both look confused. Yep. Like, what?
That's not supposed to be the answer.
You have Roger Saffold. You have Taylor Lewan, Nate Davis. What? Oh, okay. Your tight end MVP is Michael Pruitt, or Jim Wyatt said Jeff Swain.
Yep.
We would have our eyebrows would be doing a lot of moving, right, up and down, like.
Yeah, because they didn't address it. They went with what they had. So
everybody just assumed by default it's going to be Anthony Ferguson. Right, everybody would say
that was supposed to be the answer.
Who's going to be the MVP at tight end? Everybody, including me, without hesitation. Anthony Ferguson, not the case. Linebacker, and we're going with let's say on the inside. We're not talking about outside linebacker position, your MVP is David Long, and that's where we all agree. But once again, going into the season, we would be wait a minute, what? David Long, that's your MVP? But no, you brought back Jayon Brown. No, you have Rashaan Evans. No.
David Long. David Long's creating plays too.
It's not David Long. You got those guys. Like, that's not your MVP. No, it's David Long. No, it's David Long. Secondary. I mean, I think it'd be easy to take away Kevin Byard. Although at the time, a lot of people were very excited about Janoris Jenkins, and certainly he hasn't been. And I think after that, I think you could probably. I would say then you would go Amani Hooker than Christian Fulton, but it's been probably the reverse. The point is, you wouldn't have, you wouldn't think if those were your answers, this would be an 8-2 team. You would be like, wait a minute, if that's your answers, this team is what, 5-5 at best?
Yeah.
Through 10 games, right?
Probably, yeah.
If you know those are the answers going into the season, are you going, whew, oh, this has been good?
Putting my money on the Titans. Yeah, no, you're not. But that's the fun part of the NFL, that you have those names that emerge every year. And it also is why Mike Vrabel is now the favorite for Coach of the Year. When you look at BetMGM is where I got that. But there's a reason. Because he's got an 8-2 team with the guys that we just named. Names that most people have never heard of.
Mm-hmm.
Now, those that have covered the team, David Long has had a nice progression his last few years. But I don't know if we could have said, yeah, he's going to emerge as being the top middle linebacker. But he has.
Right. I wasn't dismissing David Long Jr. Obviously, there was expectations, but to say he would be the MVP, we would be like, no. He's not going to be the MVP. The linebackers, no. He's gonna take, a nice step. He's going to help contribute. No. But I mean, there's no way. And oh, by the way, if we did play the game of remove A.J. Brown, who was the MVP of the wide receivers, like I did with Jim after he said it's still A.J. Brown, but like you said, it's by default. I mean, okay, so take him out of the mix. Who's your MVP at wide receiver?
I'm probably going to go Marcus Johnson.
We know Willie would go NWI for sure.
Which that's what Jim did, and I don't think that's an awful choice.
No.
He's, like I said, he's steady Eddie, but I think I'm going to go Marcus Johnson.
It's one or the other.
Yeah.
But once again, it's like, okay, they brought in Josh Reynolds, they traded for Julio Jones, and that's your wide receiver MVP? Like, there's just no – at times it's a little maddening because if you really start thinking about this stuff out loud, you do not come to the conclusion the Titans are the best team in the AFC.
No. Based on who they have.
And by the way, you're throwing in the mix that, you've just lost your star running back, too, for the regular season. He's been gone the last 2 weeks. Now, you had him for the first 8 games, but he's been gone the last 2 weeks. I don't know how anybody could come to the conclusion, they'll be just fine. Think about those answers. They'll be fine. They'll be just fine with those guys being the answer. Really?
But they have been.
I know. That's what's amazing about it.
So how would you answer
this? And by the way, Randy Bullock's the kicker all year.
Oh, yeah.
And Randy Bullock has been steady Eddie. No issues at all.
He's been fine.
None.
Matthew on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com. What about Rookie of the Year for the Titans? That's a great question.
Rookie of the Year. Well, I mean, are we going to be prisoner of the moment and say Monty Rice?
I was going to say him or Naquan Jones.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
That's kind of
I mean, we know it's not the first-round pick. We know it's not the second-round pick.
Nope.
Was Monty the third round?
No.
Who was third round?
Elijah Molden was in the third round.
Oh, yeah. Elijah Molden was in the third round.
Monty. I thought Monty was the second round.
No, second round was Dylan Radins.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Third round. So Monty Rice.
Oh,
and
they may
Elijah
have two. They may have two
They
third
did.
rounds.
Yeah,
Okay.
Monty Rice and Elijah Molden were third rounders.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, I don't think it's not Elijah Molden. I mean, there's been flashes. He's been okay.
But he's been a fifth round pick, or third round pick. But he has been a guy that is, you knew was going to be a project.
Okay, what else? Who else were the picks? Who else are we missing?
Well, Des Fitzpatrick was the fourth rounder.
Definitely not that. He just saw the field for the first time, so it's definitely not him. Oh, we had
Brady Breeze,
Racy McMath, Brady Breeze.
They're hurt.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would go with Monty Rice. Are you going Molden or Rice?
Well, I said Naquan Jones, who was not even a draft pick.
It wasn't even, I was going to say, they didn't draft him.
He was an undrafted free agent, but he's a rookie out of Michigan State. He's been pretty good.
I mean, that counts.
Yeah,
because
he's a rookie.
Yeah, they got him. That is the other part of this. I mean, they haven't had much. It's well documented. We know. We've talked about it a bunch. It's a really good question. I mean, the last 2 years, too, they've had success, and they're getting virtually no production from draft picks.
No, I mean.
Or at least top draft picks.
Monty Rice has come on. Dylan Radins has had some spot duty.
But still, that's a second round pick.
Yeah.
I mean, Darrington Evans. I mean, we don't even say anything there.
Who?
Exactly. But once again, that kind of just goes along with the narrative we've been talking about. It is amazing to me. It's just it continues to be perplexing, which you have to say hats off to Mike Vrabel and this coaching staff, like how they're squeezing everything they've got out of this team, because a lot of it doesn't even make sense. There's all these big names. Oh, by the way, Bud Dupree. They gave him a truckload of money, bags and bags and bags of cash, and he's basically had what, 2 games, 3 games?
Yep. Can't stay healthy.
And then it was all starting to look good. Like, now second half, you got Bud Dupree. I'm
going to go Monty Rice.
That's who I said. That was my answer.
I'm going to go Monty Rice.
Okay.
Naquan Jones has been, he had the sack last week, and he's been good, but I think Monty Rice.
I mean, for a pickup?
Yeah.
UFA? I mean,
yep.
Undrafted guy?
Undrafted, yep.
Yeah, UFA. Yeah. There's no doubt. I would have gone Monty Rice, but that's still the other part of this. Like, they're not even getting – I mean, think about it. 2 first-round picks. I mean, virtually no production at all the last 2 years, right? I mean, we know last year, nothing, or the year before. This season, just a little – I mean, was it an appetizer? Does it count as an appetizer?
Maybe.
Like a basket of bread, maybe? Kind of like the free bread. Does that count? I love the free bread at restaurants.
So do I.
I'm
all about it.
Especially if it's warm, right? Like warm, hot, free bread. Oh, man. It's good.
Do you know what's crazy with Monty Rice? He was born January 8th, 1999. So when the Titans made that run to the Super Bowl, he was not even a year old.
He doesn't remember it.
No, he doesn't. I was in 6th grade.
I saw something last night on FS1 flipping through the channels, and it was about Kevin Dyson and the Titans. I don't even know what the show was called. It was interesting.
You missed last week. Kevin Dyson made an appearance on Silly Underdog Picks.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Dr. Dyson?
Dr. Dyson and Dr. Phil were talking to Chris.
Oh, so he got consulted by 2 doctors.
He did.
That's where he is right now. Chris Sanders is the point now. He needs 2 doctors to help him.
Yep, Dr. Dyson and Dr. Phil.
Can't wait for tomorrow at noon. Silly underdog.
Oh, I can't either.
All right, we'll come back. We will wrap. By the way, we're going to head east at noon today because we have not had a chance to talk with Vince Ferrara this week. So we will do that at noon. So also we'll hear from Mike Vrabel in the third hour as well. We'll come back, wrap up the second hour next. But first, I'm going to talk to you about my friends over at Cool Springs MD. Dr. Jeffrey Lodge is the board-certified physician over there. His wife, Daphne, is the registered nurse, and their experienced staff can help you in a variety of ways. They house a lot of things under one roof. It's a state-of-the-art facility out there in Cool Springs at 1642 Westgate Circle. If you don't believe me, go check it out for yourself. And if you tacked on some unwanted pounds that you would love to get rid of before, the holidays, because that's a time where typically you tack on some unwanted pounds and maybe you would like to not already have unwanted pounds going into the holidays, well, get with them. They've got programs and products and people that can get you on track, headed in the right direction, and help you out ASAP. Rejuvenation, your appearance is important and it's tough as we age. But they will talk to you about PRP, hair removal, Botox, and finally hormone therapy. You know what? You ever had your levels checked? Did you know that they tend to dip as you age? You know that if your levels are dipping, it can affect your drive, your energy, your mood. Yeah. And if you're wondering, what is going on? Well, their staff will be more than happy to talk with you about BHRT, testosterone, estrogen. They do it all. If you want to learn everything about them, just go to their website, coolspringsmd.com, or you can always pick up the phone and schedule an appointment or consultation by dialing this number, 615-283-7291. That's 283-7291.
This is Phil Tomasino, and this is Smashville.
Tries to feed Tomasino in front, he scores! And the Predators win it in overtime, 3-2 the final.
This is a flagship of the Nashville Predators Radio Network. ESPN 102.5 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Increasing clouds today, breezy conditions out of the south. In fact, winds will be gusting around 30 miles an hour, but that's what will push our afternoon highs back into the 70s.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Hey. Nice tailgate setup.
Thanks. Dos Equis?
Sure.
Really hits the spot.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Well, I hope your team never wins as long as I'm alive.
Same to you.
A dose of respect. Brought to you by Dos Equis, proud sponsor of college football. Get a dose. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Copyright 2021. Imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
Hey, it's Jared Stillman. Guys, are you tired of feeling old? You know that feeling. You don't have any energy. You're gaining pounds. Well, guess what? My friends at Invigorate Health are the ones to help you. They don't just focus on one area of the aging body. They take care of all of it with so many different therapies that can restore your vitality and are designed with you specifically in mind. So give them a try. Invigorate Health, if you want to feel young again. Out in Mount Juliet at 615-288-4777 or invigoratehealthtn.com.
Your chance to get that rare, hard-to-find luxury timepiece is here at Genesis Diamonds. This weekend at Genesis, we're hosting the largest luxury pre-owned Rolex event ever held in Tennessee, just in time for the holidays. Genesis has found and purchased a spectacular selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches, all the hottest models that people wait years for, and we're showcasing them all this weekend. Hulks, Submariners, Daytonas, Pepsis, Batmans, rare luxury timepieces you can't find anywhere else. It's this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Come early. Get the first pick and get 60 months financing. How about a luxury pre-owned two-tone Submariner for only $299 a month, or a ladies 36mm date just for only $199 a month. Also for this event, our pre-owned Rolex buyers are on site, offering top dollar for your luxury pre-owned Rolex. Come see the largest selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches in Tennessee and take advantage of special financing this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday only, and only at Genesis Diamonds, your new home for luxury pre-owned Rolexes.
Hey, it's Jared for TriStar Moving. If you're looking to move, you need to give my friends at TriStar Moving a call. At TriStar Moving, you'll get 5-star service throughout the entire process. Everything will be taken care of, from covering your floors, banisters, railings, front door thresholds, furniture, TVs, and more. They took great care of my move and made it as stress-free as possible. If you're looking to move, give TriStar Moving a call, 615-640-1219, or visit them at nashvillemoving.org/radio and get 5% off your entire move. TriStar Moving, my official movers.
Did you know the arrow in Amazon's logo represents A to Z? Maybe the My Computer Career logo should represent unemployed to employed. Ryan was out of work when he started classes in March. In September, he started his IT career, working for Amazon, making more money than he ever thought possible. Here's a prime opportunity. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. You could start your new life as an IT pro in as little as 4 months. It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
Jared Stillman.
It's kind of a big deal around here. Kind of a big deal in these parts.
And company.
It's not just the trust, it's the way he gets open, and it's the routes that he runs.
Tune in Stillman and Company for your drive home. Delivered by TriStar Moving. Weekday afternoons from 2 to 6 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app. If you've missed any of today's show, just search Darren, Donick, and Chase on Apple, Spotify, or on your favorite podcast platform.
Back here on the DDC, our show is brought to you by Creation CBD. Creation CBD products curated for life. Hey, if you want to win a pair of tickets to see Dierks Bentley at Bridgestone Arena, that'll be Friday night, February 25th. That's 2022. Head over to YouTube and subscribe to 102.5 The Game's YouTube page, and you'll be entered for your chance to see that show. Once you subscribe, email us at promotions@cromwellmedia.com with your YouTube handle. Once you do all that, you will automatically be entered for a chance to go to that concert. One winner will be chosen on Monday. That's Monday, November 22nd. Back here on Darren, Donick, and Chase, talking a little bit about the Titans and this season. And speaking of that, they have made some moves.
They have.
Pass along. They have signed to the active roster from the practice squad Kyle Pico. And it's okay to say, who? Well, he played on Sunday. But this will be the theme throughout the course of the season. It's a theme that they did last year where you go, who? And by the way, it'll happen when you're watching the game. You'll be like, what? What just happened? Who just stripped the ball? Who just recovered that fumble? Right? Torrey Carter. Who? He stripped the ball. What? He
Dylan
caused
Cole.
the fumble? Who recovered? Dylan Cole. Who? They play for the Titans? Yeah.
That's what they do.
That's what they do. So they have signed Kyle Pico to the active roster from the practice squad. They have signed to the practice squad Amani Bledsoe and Bobby Hart. They have returned to practice, but still they remain on the IR, tied in at Tommy Hudson.
Now that one's interesting because they were pretty high on him in training camp, and he was having a nice camp as a part of that tight end battle. I can't remember when he got hurt and got put on IR, but that's interesting. So I wonder how he would fit in with the tight ends. I think he did start the season, but so curious there, but we'll see.
I'm curious how excited the Texans are that Derrick Henry's not running this Sunday because he usually trucks them for about 225 and a couple of scores. So
does that mean that Adrian Peterson might get 75 to 100 and
No. Who do you think will be the likely candidate for that going against the Texans?
Deontay Foreman.
Yeah.
Do I see a
this
pick,
be
pick
the
six
week?
question?
Yeah. This could be the week maybe Deontay Foreman has a big week. Just saying.
It does kind of feel like, because I asked Jim this, are they cool riding this out? Mike Vrabel's been asked about this too. Are they cool riding this out by committee, or are they waiting for one guy to take the job? And right now it kind of feels like Foreman's the closest to doing that. With keeping in mind that McNichols is probably going to stay in his role.
Yep. Agreed.
You know?
But
Because I think that's what they want.
Well, I don't know. I think there's a real shot if they're both upright and healthy all season. I think McNichols' role, it's pretty clear. It's just going to remain the same. Like, there's nothing new to see here. I think the Foreman and Peterson is truly going to be by committee, just split carries. I think if both are healthy, I think if there are, let's say, 24 carries to dole out between the two, I think it could be, 13 and 11, 12 and 12. Maybe there's a week where it's, 14 and 10. I mean, just depending on if somebody's getting hot. Maybe it's not 24 carries. Maybe it's more like 22 carries, something like that. I do think they need to try to establish the run a little bit more, especially with their deficiencies at wide receiver, right? I mean, they've already shown Josh Reynolds the door. Julio Jones can't get on the field. A.J. Brown has been pretty inconsistent all year. You never know what you're getting, even though he's their most consistent, if that makes any sense. He's their most consistent, inconsistent receiver, and he's supposed to be a star, right? But you just never know. I mean, he's had some good weeks, and then he's got weeks like last week where, he has the longest run from scrimmage, 7 yards. That was their longest run from scrimmage, 7 yards, and he had 1 catch. Like, you got to get more out of A.J. Brown, but, they know that. So
well, he's got to catch the ball.
And you're not going to get 100 yards from Marcus Johnson every week, right? And you're right. The drops are an issue, but you're not going to get 100 yards from Marcus Johnson every week. So it's truly a committee there. So with that being said, my guess is they'd probably like to see, to be able to have it divvied up about 24 times between Foreman and Peterson so they can get some type of running game going or at least get some type of production there. And I think the answer to what we were talking about last week is no, Adrian Peterson is not, right? He's not going to have a 20-carry game because I think they'd probably like to keep it somewhere around 12 carries each per game. Agree or disagree?
I would agree with that. I think that's right there. That's the right number. So, but this week is going to be because you're going up against a team that is not very good against anything. This is going to be the test to see, okay, what do you have? You've had Adrian Peterson and Deontay Foreman here for a couple weeks. What have they learned? What are they going to be able to do? So I'm curious of what it looks like. But I think you're right.
We'll come back. We'll head east. We'll talk with Vince Ferrara. A lot going on the Hill. We'll do that next. Start hour number 3. Darren Donick and Chase. That's next.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Weekday mornings from 5 to 9.
Did you see the Tennessee Titans? He has all the weapons to make it happen.
There's so much to pay attention to. Greeny from 9 to 11.
Ryan Tannehill is the most disrespected player.
Art and Han from 11 to 2.
You never stop punching. They've got to learn how to close the deal.
And the Paul Feinbaum Show afternoons from 2 to 6.
Are these legitimate contenders to the party?
Your exclusive home for ESPN Radio in the Music City.
ESPN
94.9 and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Gary Ashton here. Most people in Nashville know me as the don't sell without the intel and the guaranteed offer guy. But despite my accent, I'm also 100% guaranteed Nashville. I'm a guaranteed musician, a guaranteed dog lover, and you're also guaranteed to see me at every Titans and Preds game. Guaranteed offer means the Gary Ashton team with RE/MAX Advantage will sell your house for top dollar with no cleaning, staging, showings, or open houses, and give you up to 90 days to close. So there's plenty of time to find your next home. Guaranteed Nashville means my team lives here and loves it here. We've served Nashville for over 20 years, and we're passionate about helping the people we call neighbors and friends, which is why we've had a long-standing tradition of donating to the Vanderbilt Children's Hospital. If you're thinking about a guaranteed offer, get the only one that's guaranteed Nashville. Request a no-obligation offer by calling 615-301-1650 or go to GaryAshton.com today. Remember, Gary Ashton, guaranteed Nashville.
Bank of England Mortgage has been helping Americans live the dream of home ownership for over 100 years. Since their humble beginnings in England, Arkansas, they've gone from a community bank to a nationwide mortgage lender. BOE delivers innovative mortgage products with superior customer service and the most knowledgeable loan officers in Nashville. Find your nearest location in Middle Tennessee at BOE1214.com or call 615-823-1215. Bank of England Mortgage is a division of Bank of England Mortgage. Equal housing lender, member FDIC, NMLS 418-481.
Zines First is the official sign company for 102.5 The Game. Go to sfnash.com.
Parman Tractor and Equipment is your one-stop tractor and equipment solution and Middle Tennessee's Link Belt and Takeuchi dealer. No matter how you're getting there, start with Parman Tractor and Equipment. Rent or purchase a track loader, mini excavator, large excavators for your job site, or something in between. Their service and parts team will get your work site up and running in no time. Parman Tractor and Equipment will come to you for service if needed. Visit ParmanTractor.com for more info. Your Middle Tennessee Link Belt and Takeuchi dealer, providing totally outrageous customer service.
With just one spray of Microban 24, your hard surfaces are sanitized for up to 24 hours. Touch after touch after touch.
So 6 hours from now?
Still sanitized.
12 hours?
Yep.
18 hours.
We're really doing this.
24 hours.
When used as directed, one spray of Microban keeps killing 99.9% of bacteria touch after touch for, up to 24 hours.
Wow.
Microban 24. The sanitizer 4 out of 5 doctors would use in their own homes. So why aren't you?
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT-FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ-HD2 Laverne, online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's time for Darren, Donick, and Chase. With hosts Darren McFarland, Willie Donick, and Chase McCabe. On Nashville's best sports talk,
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
Smoky Mountain rain keeps on falling. I keep on falling.
Well, when you hear that music, you know we're headed east. Vince Ferrara, at Vince Sports on Twitter. WNML, the sports animal there in Knoxville, which I was checking out when I was passing through over that 4-day period. I didn't hear Vince Ferrara, and that made me sad. But now we hear him. Vince, how we doing?
Doing great, gentlemen. How we doing?
Good. You sound a little busy.
He's a busy man.
I was charging my phone, if we want to be totally transparent and pull the curtain back. I was charging my phone, so I kept it on speakerphone in order so I could do that, because I have a placement type of place the phone on their charger, mobile deal. So, yeah, I just had to take it off speaker. That's all.
You know what I thought you were doing? Running out of the parking structure. That's what I thought you were doing.
I am inside. I'm not quite in the parking garage. I was in the parking garage a few moments ago, but I'm good to go now.
Okay. Your overall thoughts, Saturday's game at Neyland?
Yeah, I think Tennessee did what I expected them to do in some ways, and that's to give Georgia their toughest test, but it didn't turn out over 4 quarters to be that much of a test. Still, they racked up a lot of yards, especially considering what Georgia normally gives up. I think Georgia gives up, going into that game, 150 yards on average per game passing, and Tennessee had over 300. So, there are a lot of things that Tennessee did, especially with that great start, and Georgia had given up 12 first-quarter points in all the games and 9 games going in, and then they gave up 10 in the first quarter. The problem is that Tennessee didn't get any other points until that last drive in the fourth quarter. But Georgia's defense is so good, they adjusted. And Tennessee, when Georgia was able to get pressure in early downs, and Tennessee was in tougher positions on second and third down, that made it harder for Tennessee to be able to get that first down in the drive, so you can really amp up the tempo. And at first, Georgia was out of position a number of times, and that first drive was really impressive. So Tennessee did some good things. Hendon Hooker wasn't as sharp as we've seen him. and it just shows how dependent they are of him. He missed on a few throws. They lost Javonte Payton, who's their early game deep ball touchdown threat, and so when he wasn't in the game, it was Ramel Keaton, and Hooker put a ball out there that maybe Payton would have gotten because he's faster, and then Keaton he looked back at the ball too quickly, so it kind of slowed him down some. So, and Hooker missed on a few other throws. I think he felt rushed at times and maybe tried to do too much. So in the end, I came out of it feeling not any different or worse about Tennessee. And then also I think I was a little bit more impressed in Georgia. You saw Georgia make those adjustments after that first quarter, and then to see them communicate on defense and be on a string, and guys going from covering a receiver in the slot to suddenly, two linebackers are covering receivers. Next thing you know, they're all moving in unison to slide over their defense, and now you got two linebackers in the box. And to communicate and be adjusted and ready for the snap, so much better after that game. And then by the way, they got a bunch of dudes, Bennett making plays, running on third down and moving the chains, which has been kryptonite for Tennessee for sure. So I don't think Georgia is invincible. They're not like what LSU was a couple of years ago, those best Alabama teams. But I think everyone else is so inconsistent that there's still a gap there. So I came out of it probably feeling even better about Georgia's chances of running the table and ended up the chance.
Okay, so why aren't they? It's just the opposite side of the ball. Why aren't they as good as that LSU team? Because their defense is just as comparable, dominating-wise, as LSU's offense was that year. So, and LSU's defense was okay, but it didn't have to be dominant because their offense was so good. So, why do you think it's what is it? Because they don't have the elite quarterback, or why aren't they as dominant as the LSU team, or comparable, I should say?
Well, because we haven't seen Georgia in any adverse situations that give you the feeling that they're going to be able to win a game in a different way, in a shootout type of game. LSU, you look back on that year, they won games different ways. It wasn't every game 48-45. I mean, they got some things done in some different types of games. And then, oh, by the way, when push comes to shove and you absolutely need your offense, you got elite quarterback, elite skill players to be able to come and rescue the day. Hard to say that you can, if you're in an adverse situation, that your defense is always going to be able to rescue the day in such an offensive sport right now. So we haven't seen Georgia push to the fourth quarter. We haven't seen them have to rally from behind to where Stetson Bennett now has more on his shoulder, or they have to be one-dimensional on offense to win a game. That was the beauty of that LSU team, is they could do it. And when Alabama was so dominant, I think the sport wasn't quite what it is now. So that would be the reason. I'm not saying that Georgia won't overcome it or someone is definitely going to get it, because there's some teams with some ability, but there are also plenty of other teams with flaws. But I think that will be the biggest reason, is just not having seen them in all kinds of situations.
Yeah, I would say, though, that's because of how dominant they are. I guess I look back at that LSU team. Let's see, they had a test the second week of the season in Austin against Texas. I'm trying to think of their close game. That Auburn game was a really good game. Of course, the Bama game in Tuscaloosa. But other than that, every game they had was an absolute shelling. They just shellacked them. They blew everybody else out. I don't know. I'm curious. I think it's an interesting conversation. I think really it's, to me, says a lot about this Georgia team. While what you're saying is factually correct, but I think it's more about them than everybody else. I just think that's how dominant they are. I mean, we did see them at the beginning of the season. Maybe the Clemson game is the equivalent of that Texas game LSU had that year. But, and we'll find out how they look against Alabama in the SEC championship game. But I don't know. I kind of look at them as just like that LSU team 2 years ago, because LSU was so good because they would just score 50 or 60 points every game, so it really didn't matter really how their defense did. But this team, you cannot score on them. I mean, you cannot put up any points on this team. So, it's just, I guess, how you look at it. I don't know.
Well, it is. I guess it's sort of a slightly different conversation. Like I mentioned, I came out of it a little bit more impressed by Georgia, seeing them in person, seeing Bennett. Bennett makes such smart decisions that even if he doesn't pass the eye test for you in terms of stature and athleticism, I mean, he made so many plays where he either threw it away or he found an open receiver flashing across his body, and he avoided negative plays. Georgia just doesn't give up negative plays. So some of his intelligence and underrated athleticism helped him there. So I kind of feel better about them with Bennett than maybe earlier I thought, well, eventually they're going to need the passing of Daniels. Well, they can still do it. And then also because they're so well coached that even if they have tough stretches like that first quarter against Tennessee, they seem to have a coaching answer. I just think there's such a gap with everybody else that I felt better about Georgia for this year. I guess my only questions would be when you start comparing them historically with some of those other teams. I just don't know that they're complete enough to be on that level, but still probably better than everybody else this year.
Was Cedric Tillman supposed to be this good?
Well, not when he came in. I mean, he wasn't highly rated.
But I mean, this season, were we talking about him in the fashion that maybe we should be?
I know I was impressed by him in the spring. He had a very good spring. But again, it's practice versus delivering. I think he had 8 catches in his career coming into this year. But we saw ability. We saw a bigger body. We saw a guy that made improvements from the 2 years that we've seen him here. So I thought he would be in the mix. Now, to put up 200-yard receiving games against the number one defense in the country, no, I don't think we saw that. But it was a bunch of that's what we talked about the receiver position. There were a number of guys with potential, but we hadn't really seen it yet. Well, he's proved it. He's worked at it, and they've raised his confidence. And I think that you can point to player development with Tillman and a number of other guys, Matthew Butler, Theo Jackson. There's a number of guys you can point to for player development. And he's a kid. He's put in the work, but he's a kid that they've gotten him to believe in himself like they did in him, and now he's taking that jump. And having the explosive plays help you with your numbers also. And he's been a guy. Remember how many times they missed? Joe Milton early in the year.
His
numbers could be even
know.
greater. There are only 9 times in Tennessee football history has a wide receiver had 200 or more yards receiving in a game.
Well, look at his 2 biggest games this year, Vince.
Yeah.
Georgia and Alabama.
Yeah.
I mean, he had 150-something against Bama.
Right.
He had 200 against Georgia. I mean, and then, like you said, my goodness, the plays that were missed early on when Joe Milton would throw it 4 rows into the stands when he was wide open.
He was the target oftentimes in those. Yep.
Speaking of the quarterback position, you know that it's interesting when Josh Heupel's already getting asked about Hooker's future. Is he going to return or not? What's your gut? What do you think? Is he going to be the quarterback next year, or how do you think that's going to play out?
I think it depends on what the NFL people think of him. I think his NFL stock has increased. Our Jimmy Himes talked to Rick Neuheisel, and he kind of compared him to a Tyrod Taylor in terms of the NFL. So I think he would be drafted if he comes out. The question is, does he make a decision like a Kenny Pickett and say, I need to continue to develop, take another step, raise my stock, improve on some things, and then I can elevate myself into a potential first-round pick. He's not there yet. So I think that it just depends on what his range is. He's a smart kid, so I think he'll be very thorough about it. Just a matter, look, Kenny Pickett he got insight from Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning talked to some NFL people and got additional information for him more than what the NFL provides. And that helped him decide, hey, I should stay. Another factor is maybe back the other way to push him towards the NFL. This isn't a great NFL draft year for quarterbacks. So that may kind of elevate him up some boards as well. So that's another area that still going to plan to dig into and talking to some NFL scouts and how much they've elevated him. But I do think it's up in the air, and it's kind of dicey when we only have one verbal commit quarterback in this class and then Joe Milton behind you as the only scholarship guys right now.
Vince Ferrara, 99.1 The Sports Animal in Knoxville, joining us as the Vols will take on South Alabama this Saturday. So I'm going to ask a question. Somebody brought this up on the text line, and I was like, okay, I'll ask Vince. I think I know the answer. But when you get into this time of year and the carousel begins, Josh Heupel has had a nice first year. I think it's looking like 7 wins. Could you do you think there's any interest in him after 1 year in Knoxville?
No, I don't think so. What's crazy is there have been so many of these in-season coaching changes. You guys may have the exact number. I thought I heard yesterday 12.
That seems about right.
Like that. So, and that's a lot, and that's people wanting to get a jump. I don't, even though, he's in. Rick Neuheisel said last week he thought he would name him the SEC Coach of the Year. I think it's tough to name a coach at 500 or just above the Coach of the Year when you've had other programs like Mississippi State and Arkansas make big jumps, and then what Georgia has been. I think he would be in the conversation on the short list, but I don't know about Coach of the Year. So no, I would be surprised. Even if someone does reach out to him, it's a great job if you can fix it. And if you can be the guy to bring it back, my goodness. So I don't think so. And look, this happens, Chase, not surprised that someone thought about it and asked you guys about it. I mean, we went through this with Dooley after year 1.
Yeah.
I mean, people were like, oh, what if Georgia calls? And they did, what if for Pruitt? What if Alabama calls? And, during the first year when it's not even done yet, I don't think that is very high on. And the Lane Kiffin thing, I'm sure that's a scar that will always be there. So you always have to wonder. But I wouldn't sweat that too much. Probably other things to worry about ahead of that.
Yeah, and I think too, you brought up Dooley. I mean, Butch, I guess, went 5-7 his first year. He gets to 7 wins in the second year, but it's how do you build after the first year? And I think if now they got 2 games to play, anything can happen. But if they get to 7 wins in a bowl in year 1, I think that 7 wins is exceeding expectations in my opinion. I was thinking it was going to be 5 or 6 in year 1, and he's been in some close games. Lost to Pitt, lost to Ole Miss in a close game, but won a close game against Kentucky. So I think you have to feel good about some of the progress that they're making. Now, can you do it in year 2 when you get another recruiting class in here and all of that?
No question. And look, it's more than just the win total, because I had them at 6-6. So even if they get 7 for the regular season, then that's going to be above that. But you have the potential with a bowl win, and Tennessee's had bowl success of 8. And 8 actually from 2008 to 2014, Tennessee didn't have a single 8 or 9 win season. And if Tennessee gets to 8 wins this year, the 2 in the regular season and the bowl, it will be the 4th time in the last 7 years they've gone to 8 or 9 wins. I mean, think about that. We're still looking at this as the horrible times in Tennessee football history, but there's a few spikes. There was 2015 and 2016 spiking under Butch with 9 wins. You had 2019 with Pruitt, and if they do it this year, you have it again. That just shows you it's kind of happening different now. There's some spikes, but then the lows have dropped. The ceiling, the floor has dropped lower than it used to. And then one other factor, it's another reminder that you can't assume that this is now the path automatically to championships and SEC success, because it's happened before and it's gone south after that. It looks great. It's a great first step. But again, it's not a guaranteed thing, and he's got to deliver in recruiting still. That's still a TBD to see if he can elevate that, because you need coaching and development, but you need the dudes at the same time.
All right, let's move from TBD to TBA and talk a little basketballs.
Nice.
Yeah, thank you very much. I know they played UT Martin and ETSU to start the season, but 2 wins there. This Saturday, though, excited to see them play Villanova, but what have you seen out of Rick Barnes and his squad so far?
Yeah, better in Game 2 than Game 1. Obviously, Kennedy Chandler being the SEC Freshman of the Week, and just ridiculous in his ability to stat flash plays. He was expected. A lot of people thought he'd be the SEC Freshman of the Year. He's shown nothing different than that. His ability to just snake through traffic in the lane, his ability to pass. He's improved as a defender and as a perimeter shooter. Rick Barnes rides him hard, but Rick Barnes says he wants to be coached, and he's a really good teammate. So a lot of the intangibles those boxes seem to be checked right now in addition to the play. Obviously, like you mentioned, Chase, it's a big step up in competition. Villanova's the number 5 team in the country, so well coached. Terrific guards as well. So this will be a test to see where they're truly at. And look, after that, they're either going to play the number 6 team in the country in Purdue or the number 18 team in the country in North Carolina when they're ranked 17th. So they're going to get 2 challenges this weekend. I think it'll say a lot more. Very positive that Olivier Kamwa in the post as a forward has had career games in each of his first 2 games. And Rick Barnes thinks that he could continue that. That's big, because then you don't have to rush your young post. So it's been a good start. They're jacking up a bunch of threes, but and that's because they have so many shooters that now you look at this team, and whether it's Justin Powell, the Auburn transfer, or Victor Bailey, or Vescovi, or you can go on Chandler, when it leaves their hands, you got to the point now where you think it's going in. And that's much different than last year, where it was more of a struggle for them to score, and they were relying on their freshmen to create too much. It's just much more of a team, and they're deeper than we've seen in a long time. And Desmond Oliver, the former assistant who is ETSU's coach, he absolutely raved about Kennedy Chandler. He said he's the best point guard in the country already, 2 games into his college career. So, I mean, he had huge praise for Chandler and for Tennessee.
Yeah, and he also compared him to Kyrie Irving, which it's like, whoa, let's pump the brakes a little.
I got you. Yes.
And I don't believe he feels this. He doesn't feel the same way about the world either. I'm sure that Kennedy thinks it's round. The earth is round, I'm sure. But I'll tell you what, he looks good. He looks really good. Hey, thanks for the visit as always. Have a great rest of your week. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, sounds good. Enjoy it. Thanks, guys.
Vince Ferrara, the sports animal, WNML, there in Knoxville. And he does look really good. And that basketball team looks really good. But Desmond Oliver, come on.
Going to be a good one on Saturday.
I hate the comparisons. I hate them. At this age.
Know.
He's 18.
I know.
He's 18. You know?
Yeah, you just got to be. I mean, people do it. Like, we all do it. We all start comparisons. But, it's an unfair game to play.
Yeah. But he does look like he's the real deal. He looks really, really good. So, all right, let me talk to you about my friends over at Creation CBD. If you're like me, and from time to time or all the time, just sort of feels like sometimes, you've got aches and pains, all over your body. You've got aches and pains in certain places, like me. Well, and you've been looking for a solution. You've been looking like, how do I get out of this? Man, what's going on here? Like for Chase's neck yesterday. He could have used some Creation CBD, to help his neck pain. Creation means healing, and that right there says a lot. Creation is locally and organically sourced CBD products from right here in Middle Tennessee, from seed to final sale. Creation is passionate about providing quality products for everyday use, and that's for your pets too. If you've got a dog like myself that has medical issues like seizures all the time, It has been a game changer in our house. The pet tincture, she's on every day. Her seizures have stopped. She's lost weight. She's full of energy. She acts like a dog again. And you know what? For 3+ years, she did not. We couldn't say that before the pet tincture, which she's been on for 3+ months. Right now, you can order yours now at CreationCompany.com. And there is a little DDC special for you right now through the 28th. So that is for the next 11 days. You can get 50% off. You must use the code DDC50. Use the code DDC50 on their website through November 28th, and you can get 50% off. Yes. Also, that 50% off sale is going on at the Painted Tree in Franklin, where you can find their products. It's Creation CBD, curated for life.
That's the way to win. Took everybody, we found a way to win. Let's go. Titans on 3. 1, 2, 3.
The Red Hot Titans sit atop the AFC with an 8-2 record.
It is pretty incredible that they just continue to find ways to win.
Your home of the best Titans coverage.
This is how the Titans are going to have to win games.
Is Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Tune in to ESPN 102.5 The Game every Tuesday afternoon at 4:30 for ESPN's Trevor Maddich joining me, Jared Stillman, on Stillman & Company as we dive deep into the college football world and all the latest from the SEC. It's all brought to you by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters.
Basketball fans celebrate the NBA's 75th anniversary season on FanDuel Sportsbook. Joe Rexha here to let you know that new customers can place their first bet risk-free, and if you don't win, you can get up to $1,000 back. So if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, now's the perfect time to give it a shot. Of course, look, on the same game parlay bets with an NBA game, you can do so many things. You got player stats, point totals, rebounds, the money line over-under, the overall point spread, whatever you want to do. That's why I love FanDuel. It's great for the NBA. It's great in general. It's the #1 sports book in America. It's easy. It's fast. Get your money in as little as 2 hours. Got all kinds of odds, boosts, and specials. No better place to bet the NBA than on FanDuel. See for yourself. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Sign up using promo code Joe102. Get your first bet risk-free up to $1,000 and make every moment more in this NBA season. That's promo code Joe102. You must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as now-withdrawable site credit that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line. 800-889-9789.
More than 80% of hospitals and other healthcare employers are now looking to hire nurses holding a bachelor's degree. That's why Aspen University's 3-year accelerated and accredited BSN pre-licensure program is now enrolling with no wait list. Tuition and fees are less than $50,000 and transfer credits are accepted. Want to learn more? Just text STEP to 323232 right now. Most courses are online and you'll complete your clinicals within our collaborative network of healthcare providers. Plus, if you need more flexibility, we offer a nights and weekends program. Text STEP to 323232 right now. All clinical simulations and labs are delivered in person while following CDC guidelines for social distancing and masks. If you've thought about becoming a registered nurse, the time is now. Text STEP to 323232 to learn more today. Text the word STEP to 323232 right now. Text STEP to 323232. Total cost of the degree program will vary depending on the courses taken, transfer credits awarded, and fees incurred. Employment statistics are from the AACN Research Brief, published in December 2020. Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Message and data rates may apply.
It seems that 2021 has been another year of Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. It's time to cool things down with football season and Red Spirits and Wine, the only place I go for my adult beverages, bar none. Ain't no others that amount to a hill of beans. Red simply can't be topped for price, selection, and that Cracker Jack service. When gearing up for the big game, Red Spirits and Wine wets my whistle every time. Red Spirits and Wine, Highway 70 South at Old Hickory Boulevard.
With Early Paycheck, you can get your direct deposit up to 2 days earlier. That's another reason banking with Capital One is the easiest decision ever. Even easier than deciding to open the biggest birthday gift first.
Happy birthday to you.
Which one are you going to open first?
The pony.
Yep, even easier than that. Plus, with no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts, is banking with Capital One even a decision? That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. No fees or minimums on new consumer accounts. Capital One and member FDIC.
Saturday afternoon.
Caught, touchdown, Middle Tennessee.
It's senior day for Murfreesboro as the MTSU Blue Raiders host Old Dominion in Conference USA play. Coverage begins at 1:30
on ESPN
94.9 and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, it's ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck on Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Wow, aggressive music coming back. Get you in the mood for I don't know what.
I'm trying to figure out what this is. I like it though.
Yeah.
It's My Chemical Romance. A little lazy.
Okay. Okay.
How about that? If you're looking for a place to hang on Sunday, Floyd Reese is going to get Sally Reese. It's going to be quite the honor. The game, Jeff Fisher will be honored as well. But if you're looking for a place to hang beforehand between 9:30 and 11:30, listen to the pregame show. That'll be at Rock Bottom Brewery on Broadway. Yes, going to break down the Titans-Texans game. Jared Stillman, Mark Howard, and forever Titans wide receiver Chris Sanders. Chris Sanders, great guy.
He is.
Go up, say hi to him. He's got a great personality, great guy. Can't pick where the lick. But everything else is great about Chris Sanders. Just don't ask him for picks on Sunday because that'll just end poorly. Our pregame show is brought to you by TriStar Moving, Parman Tractor and Equipment, FreedomTireGuys.com, FanDuel. Remember, don't get those picks from Chris. E2 Roofing, Hillside Medical, Social Furniture, and Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. Back here on Darren, Donick, and Chase.
I guess I got the call during the show. They're going to go to the bullpen, so I'll actually be hosting with Mark and Chris on Sunday. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
okay.
Just got that call, so looking forward to that. Break this game down and talk a little bit about Floyd, so it should be fun.
Well, don't have Chris make any picks.
I won't. No, I won't.
But you can hear his pick tomorrow or his picks tomorrow at noon.
I'm just looking forward to the review. It's going to be fun.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for everybody's picks that I asked for about 4 days ago. Still haven't received them.
We'll address that tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be entertaining.
Okay. Mike Vrabel is going to talk. What the time keeps getting moved.
12:40.
12:40. So in about 8 minutes, we'll hear what the head coach has to say as they get ready for the Texans.
I know.
This sounds silly, but there's got to be a little bit of Mike Vrabel going, how do I – it's one thing when do you have to say anything? It's the Chiefs, right? Do you have to say anything? It's the Bills.
No.
Do you have to say anything? It's the Rams. Do you have to say anything? It's the Colts. But it's the Texans.
I know where you're going.
Yep. And it's just human nature to go, well, this is a win. I mean, the Texans are bad. Can you keep that same focus? Can you keep that same energy? Can you keep that same drive going into that game, even though, all the precautions out there, we know. But these are the type of games that probably scare coaches, right? Because everybody knows you're supposed to win. You're a double-digit favorite, and you've come off all these big wins, and everybody's been talking about you. And so it's just natural to – maybe go through the motions a little bit of practice. Maybe we don't have to practice as hard this week or even, sleepwalk through the first quarter of the game. I don't know. I'm not saying that any of that's going to happen. I'm saying my guess is coaches don't like these type of games.
Yeah, and this is the type of game where you get pissy Vrabel. So this is kind of where he acts, a little put out during press conferences, so we'll see what he's like today. But I mean, I get it. It's to your point. What do you say? You shouldn't have to motivate your team, but you do. I mean, that's part of being the head coach. You do have to find ways to motivate. And this is a game where it'd be very easy to be complacent and just say, "Yep, we got this. Go ahead and write the W." And then we saw what happened against the Jets. So you obviously have to be ready. Now, this Texans team is not good. They're just not. It's kind of like the Arizona Coyotes coming to town the other night. I mean, I knew in the first 5 minutes, I'm like, oh, yeah, this team is awful. But you still have to play the game. You still have to score more points than them. So it's finding that, that little extra to get motivated for a game that, is just kind of like whatever. But 9-2 feels a lot better than 8-3. So I'm sure he will find the right words to say and have his team ready to go. I did see on ESPN they did their FPI, and their percentages of making the playoffs. Titans now at 99%.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty easy to say.
Yeah, I mean, basically they just have to completely collapse the rest away, and the Colts have to pretty much win.
Yep.
For the most part, you know what I mean. It's highly, highly unlikely. But we already knew that. That's not – and this one game isn't going to determine it. But it's just – look, at this point, you're not trying to get into the playoffs. At least I don't know. This will be my mindset if I'm Mike Vrabel. Obviously, he's not talking about this out loud. I get it, or publicly. But your mindset is not about making the playoffs. Your mindset is about being the number one seed. There's a real advantage to being the number one seed.
Well, especially, I think more so than ever, there's an advantage to being the number one seed. Because if you get that bye, and there's this, and again, we've said it, I'll believe it when I see it, but there's this tiny little thought that Derrick Henry could be ready for the playoffs. If you have one extra week where you're not playing games, that certainly helps that cause. I mean, think about it. If they get that first week bye, and maybe he's practicing, maybe there is a chance that you have him for the divisional round. I mean, that's huge. Now, how effective he'll be, I don't know. Who knows? We've talked to doctors that don't seem to feel like that's going to happen. But I just think you got to look at it a variety of different ways. And also not just him, but just the injuries that you've sustained throughout the year. That having that bye would be huge.
You heard Mike Vrabel say yesterday, this team needs a break. And I know their bye is coming up. They need a break. But you know what? There's nothing better. Although some people, it's weird. But there's an extra layer now, right? And so that is the difference. Because there's a lot of people that felt like the old way, all those, you take off the final week of the season when you've wrapped everything up. You sit everybody for that. You get an off week. And by that time, by the time it's the next time to play, everybody's like, see all that rest? That was no good. That was no good. But this is different because now there's an extra layer. Why would you want – the path gets longer. Well, why wouldn't you want to shorten the path, right, to SoFi, to L.A.? Right. I think, to me, I think the bye week is critical. That's what I would be going for if I were them. I mean, I would absolutely be going for it. Now, there's still a long ways to go. There's still, 7 games left? So
we've talked about it.
For them, 8 games for other teams. But
yeah. I mean, the schedule certainly is more favorable. The biggest test is going to be at New England, which, by the way, the deadline has passed, so it's going to be a noon kickoff on CBS.
Really surprised. Really surprised.
I wonder if that's Nance and Romo.
I don't know.
That might be the top team.
Could be.
But you got Houston this week, then at New England, then the bye, but then you got Jacksonville. At Pittsburgh is not easy. That's probably the second. But, even though Pittsburgh, I'm not as high on them. You've been higher, but I would put New England above that. And then San Francisco 2 days before Christmas on a Thursday night. That's the other thing. You get the mini bye late in the year. You play the Thursday night game, then you're off until the next week. Miami here at Houston. So certainly favorable. Just got to take care of business. TCB.
thinking of Mike Vrabel is going to be talking here in just a moment.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Do you want us to break, Elijah, or do you want us just to wait? Hold on.
We could probably take a quick break.
And do that. See if Coach is ready to talk after that.
He'll walk up as soon as we go to break.
I know this is out. There's no doubt about it. If he was calling in, the minute I send it, that's when the phone would ring. All right, let's do that. We'll step away real quick. We'll come back and hear what the head coach has to say about their matchup against the Texans. We'll do that next.
Friday evening at 5, it's Floyd Reese, a true Titan, honoring the GM's legacy as he goes into the Ring of Honor, featuring some of the biggest names in franchise history, and hosted by longtime co-host Jared Stillman. Floyd Reese, a true Titan, presented by Neighbors in Germantown. Tune in Friday at 5 on Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN, 102.5 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
Well, like clockwork, we knew that's exactly how it would play out, Chase. That was easy. That was very easy to predict. I think we can head over there because I think as soon as we went to the break, Mike Vrabel has started his press conference. So let's hear what the head coach has to say about Sunday's matchup against Houston.
Some of the scheme is different. There's some carryover, obviously, with Tim. But it's going to be critical that we learn who these guys are, especially defensively. It's a different style of defense than what we're used to against the Texans.
This offense isn't necessarily set up for big passing numbers. What do you think is most important in kind of evaluating Ryan's game? What do you look for?
Well, decisions. Accuracy. His ability to make very good decisions. His ability to get us in and out of plays. His toughness. I evaluate his toughness. That's always something that's really critical. His ability to take care of the football.
Is he doing those things pretty well so far, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think that there's some things that obviously he'd like. We'd all like to do better. So again, we're just trying to keep focus on the Texans and improve the stuff that showed up last week, and try to carry over the things that weren't maybe up to expectations in all levels.
We talked with Crow and Williams yesterday about Danico bouncing between those meeting rooms. Is that something you did at a stage of your Patriots career where you were playing inside and out, and what's that like for a guy to kind of go back and forth?
Yeah, I don't. There's a lot of things I did and a lot of things that people did in their career. As far as positionally and playing other spots, I really believe that's a great question that Danico could answer. And we try to coach him up wherever he's going to be, wherever we feel like he is for that particular week or in that package. I know he tries to do everything that we ask him to do. Whether that's affecting the quarterback or playing the run, continues to do a nice job of disrupting the football, of using his length and timing some of those passes. We ask guys to do a lot of different things, and Danico has been more than willing to try to do those.
Sunday, where there was the fumble recovered for the first down, and there's been a couple of other fluky plays like that in the past few weeks, different types. How much are you a believer in that you make your own luck through preparation, or do you believe that those things balance out over the course of a year?
I believe that the football isn't round and it takes some goofy bounces, and so we'll have to try to take care of the football and finish around it. That's what we always preach on defense and on offense and special teams. Is I'm pretty sure that when we kicked the ball off, we didn't think that we'd cause a fumble, but guys are running down there and trying to get around the football, and Torrey was able to recover it. AJ was ready to cover it. Appreciate the fact that our quarterback is diving in the middle of the pocket or in the middle of the scrum trying to get the football back.
Your running game with Adrian and Deontay this past week compared to maybe the previous week, their first outing?
I think we've reviewed the game. I think in past. So again, moving forward, trying to improve on, whether it's one guy making a tackle, Jim, or let's stick with the path or stick with the landmark. That's what's going to have to improve, is whether it's one guy that we didn't go to or one guy that we missed, or when we got them all covered up, we made we would like a better cut. So those are things that we're focusing on this week in the run game. And that's what we tried to impress upon them, whether that was after the game, reviewing it, or making corrections or moving forward, is just trying to say, hey, we can't continue to have one guy be free or somebody win and the back make the correct cut, and then when we get them all covered up or when we get them blocked, us not make what we would think would be the correct cut. So it's got to be a blend. It's got to be, there's a lot of trust involved when you're doing that kind of stuff and running the football and getting guys covered up and having the backs make the proper cut.
Christian missed a month, but didn't really seem to lose a beat when he returned for you guys last week. Just what did you see out of him, and how critical is he to
this focus will be on the Texans, and he'll have to try to cover Cooks and Conley and those guys. So we're into Wednesday, and we come out and talk to you guys on Monday, and we try to review the game the best we can. So, my focus will be in our teams. I hope, Robbie, we can remind them when we speak that we'll be on the Texans. So Christian will have a huge challenge. Janoris will have a huge challenge. All our DBs will have a huge challenge in in defending a guy, especially starting with Cooks that has 84 targets and 67 catches, and just the longevity and his consistency.
A familiar guy over there, Desmond King, and you talked about the defense briefly. Can you talk a little bit more about him and just his?
He's done a fantastic job. He's a very good returner. He's a strong returner, much different than the player that we played last week. Dez is gonna catch it, and he's gonna use his play strength to get north and south. And defensively, he's doing a nice job. He's disrupting the football. He's had some caused fumbles, hammer at the football. Plays outside for him, plays inside. So, again, we'll have to make sure that if we catch it on him, we'll have to put it away. Him and Mitchell, especially, do a nice job, hammering the football out.
You guys kind of put yourself in a situation where you pretty much you control your own destiny. Do you put any stock into that, or is that too far-fetched into the future?
I would like to think that every day that we wake up, we control our own destiny in some way. We're just trying to continue to improve, try to get healthy, try to play faster, try to play with more urgency, and just continue to try to eliminate the things that are going to get you beat, and cleaning up some of the things that showed up on Sunday.
What kind of challenge does quarterback present to your defense?
Well, there's the ability to scramble, the ability to mix in, whether it's the RPO game, or him running with the football. I think that's something that will always be critical to understand, with Tyrod. He's won games in this league. So we'll have to try to make sure that we're good on the edges, and when we rush, it's probably a different style each week, and his style is such that, if our rush lanes aren't sound, he will be able to put the ball away and gain yards. When everybody's got their back turned and they're covering a man-to-man, if we're reckless in our rush, he can make you pay.
Berkshire was a guy that made a lot of big plays here in the last couple of years. Aside from the injury that slowed him at the start of the year, has there been any other reason why he hasn't had as good of numbers as he put up the last couple of years?
Yeah. No, I don't really, that's, whether it's targets, there's a lot of reasons, but, we'll need a better game from Anthony and from, Jeff Swaim, Michael Pruitt, all the tight ends. So, he chips a little bit there for us on third down, and stay out of 3rd and 12, and we'll get into the pass route quicker.
Deontay pretty well in your 1 year, I guess, in Houston, and I guess how have you seen him change maybe since that time?
Did know Deontay, pretty much the same, evaluation. Thought he was a natural runner. Somebody that always been a natural runner. Remembered him catching the ball well in Houston against us, whether it was in training camp or any type of competitive period. Remembered him catching the ball, a natural catcher, which I think showed up the other day. So somebody that's familiar with our system.
At all at this point?
I don't really know what his level of maturity was or what issues, that there were. I was coaching defense, and, my time around Deontay has been positive. He's come in, he's tried to learn what we're doing and tried to help us, and I'm sure he'll try to do the same thing this week.
You've talked about knowing kind of the seat that every guy's in
Mm-hmm.
your meeting room, but on other occasions where there's kind of seems to be a relatable issue with you and a player, you're reluctant to talk about it, at least with us.
No, not reluctant. I just would try not to bring, I try not to reference my playing career. I don't think that's going to have any bearing on our success as a football team. I have a new role. I'm in a new role, and that's kind of where I'm at with that. I mean, it's just that's a long time ago.
Are there times though where it's relatable, like, hey, I've been through the exact same thing you're going through?
With the players, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, those are conversations. Empathy is something that is important. To be able to understand. A big job that I have here is to be willing to listen, and to make sure that everybody that wants to talk is heard, and then I have to do what's best for the team and make a decision. So empathy always helps. When you're listening to somebody and they may see it differently, to try to relate that to any situation that I had in the past. I try to do that and say, hey, sometimes we have to make decisions that may not be best for us or we don't agree with, but ultimately they're the best ones for the team. So.
Not stuff you're generally eager to talk about here.
No, not with you guys. No, certainly not.
As a player, I might do a question about that as it relates to Floyd Reese being honored this weekend. What do you recall about the teams he built back then here and going against those teams?
Physical teams, big teams. Obviously Eddie, big running back. Obviously big receivers. Dyson and Mace, bigger receivers. They had length. Obviously on the edge, Curse, Bullock. Those were all battles. Those big offensive line. There was, obviously the quarter. When you took it like size for a position, there wasn't going to be a more physically imposing player than Steve McNair, right? Eddie was probably one of the bigger backs in the game at that time. So those are good qualities to have when you build a team.
Anything tangibly with those teams that maybe matches up with the kind of team you want to have or have been on?
Yeah, I meant they played physical. They played physical. You knew that we got up on them, I think, in a playoff game, and they were there at the end, had a chance to tie it or do whatever. I mean, it just you knew what they weren't going to go away. They weren't just going to fold up and take off early.
About managing the practice weeks here the last couple of years. Are you going to be looking for down the line somewhere to get a little more physical again as the end of the season draws near?
I'm focusing on this week. I just see where we're at here, 11, going on 11 straight. So just trying to get guys healthy and get them back and trying to play as fast as we possibly can. And, if something, if I feel like we need to do that later on in the year, we'll try to take advantage of that.
Some players have mentioned you've had a specific message or phrase different weeks depending on the situation. I was just curious, do you have a message or will you have a specific message going into the
Yeah, I mean, we just talked about the urgency. I felt like it wasn't quite there where it needed to be on Sunday from at all levels. from a coaching perspective, from a playing perspective. So trying to get guys as much rest as we possibly can, try to get the coaches out of here so that we can come in, with some energy, with the ability to teach and to explain concepts and what we're trying to do. And then mindful of the players and, the guys that are out there battling for us that are far less than 100%. And I thank them all the time. The guys that just do it over and over and that are beat up, but try to play a certain style for us and try to do it every week.
When you have games like this that seem to be such a mismatch, how much more important is that message, just the effectiveness, the efficiency of it, how much more important is it for games like these where, it is on paper a lopsided matchup?
Yeah, I don't know who draws the papers up, but, these games in this league, these are grown men with a lot of pride. And if you take a playoff, somebody could get hurt. Not only could you lose the game, somebody could get hurt. That's just never how I've ever approached this game. You drop your hands one time and you get hit in the chin and you go to a knee. I never bought into any of that stuff, so wasn't big on paper.
From a message perspective, though, do you dig a little deeper, to try to find something different to bring out for these guys?
No, just do the stuff that we've been coaching you to do since 2018 when we all got here, and do it better. Not trying to reinvent anything, but just trying to manage the week of preparation, trying to focus on the stuff that we believe in that wins games, and just do it better.
Go add to the defensive line now on the active roster?
Well, he plays great with his hands. Good, good pad level. Showed up the other day, with being active. Being really knocking the line of scrimmage back a few times. So, thought he showed up. And we always say when you take advantage of your opportunities, you earn more opportunities. So we'll see where it is, this week in that rotation. Thank you, Teresa.
There you go, head coach Mike Vrabel. It's kind of interesting. The more we listen to his press conferences, I kind of feel like, I don't know if you get the same feeling. I always know when it's, by his answers, when it's about to end.
Yeah, so do I.
I literally stood up like, this is the end.
Yep. Well, and that went pretty much the way I thought it would. I tweeted it out, Moody Vrabel, because he wants his team focused on the Texans, and that's what he does. He comes, to the Wednesday press conference with a little bit of a mood, especially when it's against a team that, everybody's thinking, okay, you should win this pretty easily. And so that's the message. It's kind of like Nick Saban. A lot of times Nick Saban will send messages through the media to his team. And I think that's just kind of the mentality he wants to have. I do think it's interesting he doesn't like talking about his playing career. Because I do think there are some comparisons that you can take. Mm-hmm. And I mean, he admitted, he shares some of those with the players, but, I'm curious of that. I'm fascinated by things like that. Are there things he sees that he remembers from his time, and he just doesn't like to talk about that?
No, that's not true. He doesn't like to talk about it to us.
To us. Well, right. Yes.
That's the difference, right? I mean,
and he said that.
No,
to his credit,
right.
He said that.
Right, but it is interesting because he is so guarded on so many fronts when it comes to talking to the media, as opposed to, he's not guarded. I mean, look, we've talked about it a bunch. Did you hear the Anthony Ferkser question?
Yeah.
Terry was it Terry? I think that asked that.
It was Terry.
And it didn't offer much. And I do think he has some really candid conversations, or conversations about things he went through, and he does all that with his players. None of that stuff is off limits or off the table. But I think when it comes to publicly talking with the media, yeah, you're just not going to get anything on that.
Whatever.
Front. It's kind of like the podcast, right? He's sitting there with a current player, and he's willing to say stuff that you would never.
Well, at the time, 2 current players.
Well, you're right. At the time, 2 current players. You would never. We would never get. No one here in the media is ever going to get him to say half of the stuff he said on Bussing with the Boys, right?
Yeah,
no chance.
And I think along those lines, he does kind of look at things as, I'm here to do a job, and I'm doing my job, and I don't need, to be praised for my playing career or doing all these great things. Like, I'm here to be the head coach. That's what I'm doing. And I respect that. But, I do think it's fascinating to kind of, when he gives us a little bit of, the comparisons. But I mean, even asking, he's focused. He's uber focused on the Texans. I applaud him for answering the Floyd questions, but you can tell it's like that's not on his mind right now. He is focused on the Texans.
Yep. All right, we'll come back. We'll switch gears. Normally at this time on Wednesdays, we talk with C-Mace. Chris is in the air with the Predators. They are en route to Montreal. Of course, there'll be hockey night in Canada Saturday night against the Canadiens. So Chris will not be able to join us. We're going to have Robbie Stanley from Robbie and Rex Road, mornings 6 to 10 a.m. Join us. We'll talk some Preds with him to kick off the final hour. That's next here on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Heading to the 70s this afternoon with breezy conditions and increasing clouds ahead of storms that will be moving in overnight and into Thursday morning.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Gary Ashton here. Most people in Nashville know me as the don't sell without the intel and the guaranteed offer guy. But despite my accent, I'm also 100% guaranteed Nashville. I'm a guaranteed musician, a guaranteed dog lover, and you're also guaranteed to see me at every Titans and Preds game. Guaranteed offer means the Gary Ashton team with RE/MAX Advantage will sell your house for top dollar with no cleaning, staging, showings, or open houses, and give you up to 90 days to close. So there's plenty of time to find your next home. Guaranteed Nashville means my team lives here and loves it here. We've served Nashville for over 20 years, and we're passionate about helping the people we call neighbors and friends, which is why we've had a long-standing tradition of donating to the Vanderbilt Children's Hospital. If you're thinking about a guaranteed offer, get the only one that's guaranteed Nashville. Request a no-obligation offer by calling 615-301-1650 or go to GaryAshton.com today. Remember, Gary Ashton, guaranteed Nashville.
Hey, Willie here. I'm coming at you from north of the border today, up in Canada this week, the eastern part of the country, Predators with some big games coming up. And I've got a word about Loan Pronto. Home values are skyrocketing back home in our listening area. That means right now is a great time to take some cash out of your home's equity. You can call Loan Pronto now, and they can fast-track your home refi, get you a check for thousands of dollars. And if you call now, Loan Pronto can even pay those closing costs. So that means you're walking away with the big check. You can get cash out now. You might need it for high-interest credit cards that you need to pay off. Imagine being credit card debt-free for the new year, or consolidate other loans, pay for other holiday expenses, or reinvest in your home with a home improvement project. Get those finances in great shape for 2022. How do you do it? You get that low APR in the twos from Loan Pronto. Do it right now. Access that home equity while rates are still really low, and they make it easy. Loan Pronto's refi. They can close in 2 weeks. The process is great. Call them now. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. If you do it now, you can even skip your next 2 house payments. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. Not all loans apply.
Life isn't always nice and tidy. With the largest network of dentists in the nation and affordable plans, Delta Dental of Tennessee can help make sure your smile is the cleanest thing you own. Learn more at deltadentaltn.com.
It's the official Bud Light Preds watch party as the Nashville Predators take on the Montreal Canadiens this Saturday. Puck drops at 6, but the party starts at 5:30 p.m. with all kinds of specials. See you at Headquarters Beer Cave, downtown Nashville on 2nd Avenue. Go Preds! Houston Clinic Orthopedics is conveniently located where you live and work. With over 10 locations in Nashville and surrounding communities, Houston physicians specialize in spine, joint replacement, knee, hip, upper extremity, as well as many other orthopedic conditions. At Houston Clinic Orthopedics, they are strictly adhering to all CDC guidelines for both their patients and staff safety. To experience world-class orthopedic care and to see a list of all Houston physicians and specialties, visit their website at tn.houston.com and book your appointment online today.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
This is Stan Harrison, CEO of Apple Collision Centers. We understand that no one likes to deal with auto body repair and the inconvenience it becomes in your day-to-day life. I want to personally invite you to stop by and let our experienced staff see how we can help you make your vehicle look good as new. Apple Collision Center has 3 convenient locations: Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin, ready to serve you. Come by and see us or visit us online at applecollisioncenters.com.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT-FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's time for Darren, Donick, and Chase. With hosts Darren McFarland, Willie Donick, and Chase McCabe. On Nashville's best sports talk,
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
Final hour on this Wednesday afternoon. Hope everybody's having a good day to this point. Darren McFarland and Chase McCabe with you. Don't forget, our NFL Game of the Week is a doozy. Chase's Dallas Cowboys.
Barn burner.
At Kansas City, at Arrowhead, to take on the Chiefs. 3:25 kickoff. That NFL Game of the Week right here on ESPN 102.5 The Game, brought to you by Red Spirits and Wine in Bellevue. He's Robbie Stanley, but he only goes by Robbie in the mornings from 6 to 10 a.m. You can hear their show leading up to our show every day, Monday through Friday. Robbie and Rex Road. You never know what rabbit hole they're going to go down every morning. I'm sure it's not in the notes. I'm sure it's not planned. I'm sure it's not scripted. I don't believe it's a liner read that you read. But, Robbie, truly, every morning, I never know what the hell is going to happen to Joe, whether he's going to slap himself in the face with headphones, fall out of a chair, or rip someone for, a music video, a song, or you just never know what you guys are going to do. That's what's fun about it.
He seems like he's a little unstable, huh?
I didn't say that, but
that's a good way to. That's a good way to put it.
Physically, mentally.
You guys have fun.
Never know
That's
what's
the.
gonna go on.
Yeah, you guys have fun, man.
We do. Lots of fun.
That's what you're supposed to do in the mornings.
Expense this morning. That's right. I had somebody tweet in a picture of Vrabel as a movie cover of William Wallace from Braveheart. So instead of Mel Gibson, got a nice close-up shot of Mike Vrabel. It was good stuff.
Braveheart. I saw that.
Braveheart.
I have not seen this, but the way you guys were talking about it, I need to see it. It sounds like it was well done.
Oh, very well done. Shout out to DJ Burnside on Twitter. And got to tell you, Vrabel looks like he could have been in that movie pretty well. Could have handled himself pretty well. I could believe that he would be an extra in that movie.
Before we get into Pred stuff, just your overall thoughts on this Titans team, because Vrabel really is an interesting character, right? I mean, we've seen him kind of grow into this role, but there's things he's changed on, and there's some things he hasn't changed on and never will change, right? I mean, it's just in the fabric of who he is. It's in his DNA. But he's also, I think, done a much better job of morphing into a head coach. And he deserves a lot of credit for what they're doing right now, because there's just times when you look around, right, and it's almost unexplainable how they're still able to get wins considering all the circumstances and all the things that are happening around them.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty incredible. I mean, if you're asking me, I think he deserves Coach of the Year right now in the NFL.
Yeah,
I do.
Me too.
I think he's done an unbelievable job. I mean, we've talked about the injuries that this team has dealt with. That's well documented, but just the teams that they've beaten too. It's pretty amazing to see what they've done. so far this year. They're 8-2. They're in first place in the AFC, and right now they're continuing to winning games without their best player. And it's interesting. I think Vrabel, sometimes you take a look at him and he's prickly with the media, and the press conferences sometimes are pretty hilarious. In fact, in terms of just how awkward they can be and how much he basically goes out of his way to say as little as possible. And I don't think he's alone in that regard when it comes to head coaches across professional sports. But one of the things that's interesting to watch is those post-game videos that the Titans come out with every week after they win. I think you get kind of a true glimpse into who Mike Vrabel is inside that locker room in those videos. And, the players seem to universally love playing for him. And, I think that speaks volumes after a certain amount of time. Certainly has done a great job. And like I said, I think he deserves NFL Coach of the Year consideration pretty heavily right now.
Look, I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. There's a reason why we carry those press conferences. I mean, when he is prickly Mike, I think it's must-listen to radio. I mean, when you just don't know what you're going to get. And I don't want to, quote Forrest Gump and talk about a box of chocolates, but I do kind of feel like from day to day, when we carry his press conferences, you don't know what you're going to get, and that's part of the intrigue.
It's part of the intrigue, and I heard you guys talking before, and I totally agree, especially in weeks like this when they're a 10.5-point favorite on the line and everybody's expecting you to just come in and totally thrash Houston. You think he would be in a good mood?
No.
It seems like weeks like this, it's the exact opposite. Like he's ready to just choke somebody up there at the podium. So I enjoy it. It's very funny.
Can you explain to me how that Matthews goal didn't go in like 4.5 minutes into the second period yet last night? I thought for sure when they said they were going to look at it, I'm like, what are they looking at? That's a goal. I mean, what are you talking about? It went in and out. And we see those quick goals, quick shots in the back of the net and back out, or just under, roof it, and back down and out. We see those all the time, but they're good goals. I'm like, what are you looking at? And then, you slow that sucker down, and then you start going through the layers. It's like, how in the world do you go from crossbar to post to straight down, hopping across the line, swiped away from Saros? Oh, by the way, the play is still alive, coming right back at you through two sticks and going in, and UC Saros kicks it out. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that.
Well, it made me remember pretty quickly why I was so bad at geometry and why all these angles really confused me, because I was with you. Like, I took one look at that play and I was like, well, that's in the back of the net, so I don't know what they're looking at. And then you watch the replay, and like you said, I've seen some doozies before. I remember when Craig Smith had the play in Montreal where he basically shot it and stopped it all by himself, and I never thought I'd really see anything crazier than that. But that Matthews one last night is up there. That was just insane. I'm not quite sure how that didn't go in, but maybe it's just the mojo that UC Saros is carrying with him right now, because it seems that everything that is humanly possible for him to stop and to keep out of the net, he's done a pretty good job at doing that so far.
Yeah, I mean, while there's a lot of other good play that we're going to talk about, if he stays at this level, I mean, he is going to be the reason that they're going to have a chance to continue playing past 82 games and, possibly get on a run, because, I mean, you can make the case. I mean, last night could have easily been a 4 or 5-0 game. Easily. He had – I mean, that 2-on-1? Are you kidding me? I mean, how many guys – just how quick he is from side to side, post to post. It's unreal. And just, I grab my legs and my hamstrings just watching him, flop around and spread up. I mean, it hurts me just watching what he does. But, there's no doubt about it. So I want to ask you, we had a conversation with David Poyle yesterday, and I asked him about Rocco Grimaldi, why it just, it came to, what they did. Putting him on waivers, he clears waivers, he sent back to Milwaukee. And this is just my vibe, just listening to the general manager. It just kind of feels like the days of Rocco Grimaldi here are kind of over, because it just feels like he doesn't want to be here and they can't do anything with him because of his contract. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I kind of got the same vibe. I'll be honest with you, and I talked to a couple people about this before the season began. I was kind of surprised he was still here in training camp. I really was, just because you think about the way the season ended a year ago. He wasn't really in the plans. Over the off season, you look at the moves that the Predators made. Ryan Ellis is out. Victor Arvidsson is out. And yes, I think in part those moves were made to try to get younger and to bring some more youth into the team. I think they were also made because they want to get bigger. And, obviously bringing in a guy like Philip Myers, who's a giant. You've got Tanner Jeannot and Matthew Olivier and Yakov Trenin, all these guys that are absolute tree trunks out there playing in the forward position. Yeah, I mean, they're huge in the lineup that they're out there with right now. So I was kind of surprised that Rocco was here to begin the season. Now, having said that, just because you want to get bigger doesn't mean that you just have to totally abandon every small player on your team, and I understand that. But, look, I think we've come to realize since John Hines has been head coach that forwards playing defense is pretty important to that guy. And the fact of the matter is Rocco last year defensively was just pretty bad. I mean, every number you want to look at, your traditional stats, your analytics that you want to take a deep dive into, the numbers were just not good defensively. And I know if you look around and you say, well, Rocco Grimaldi had a 4-goal game a year ago. How can you tell me that he can't help this team? I still think Rocco Grimaldi is an NHL quality player. I think offensively he does some things with his speed and his offensive capability that can still help the Predators. I just think defensively, John Hines did not trust Rocco Grimaldi. And I think there were other players in the lineup that he felt were better equipped to play the style of play that the Predators want to play. So eventually, I mean, that's going to lead to a pretty good souring of a relationship. I think that's what we've seen. I think Rocco Grimaldi still feels like he could play at the NHL level. My guess is he's probably right. I just don't think it's going to be here.
Yeah. Is there any concern with you on Eeli Tolvanen's start to the season? I know it's just 16 games in, but you look at where he's playing in the lineup. You look at where a guy like Tomasino's playing in the lineup, and just looking at the numbers, I mean, Tomasino has looked better, and he's 20 years old, 20 years old, former first-round pick by the Predators. Are you concerned? And I think probably the biggest concern for me on his front is losing confidence. And we know losing confidence at this level is a losing proposition. Like, it's not good for anybody. A veteran, a young guy, doesn't matter how long you've been in the league, if you don't have your confidence, you're not going to be able to succeed at this level. What's your level of concern 1 through 10 right now with Eeli Tolvanen?
I'd put it at about an 8. I'm pretty concerned with Eeli Tolvanen. I really am. And, it's one of those things you can look at it through just the lens of this year, but I kind of take it back to the last part of last year as well. When he suffered that injury and he was out of the lineup, he came back, and it just never really felt like he was the same guy. And obviously in the playoffs, he was not productive there. And then you come back to start this season, he scores on opening night, and you're like, okay, well, here's the Eeli Tolvanen breakout year. He's going to get to 20 goals. He's going to be a legitimate threat for this team on the power play. He's going to be a legitimate scoring threat 5-on-5. And quite frankly, most of the time this year, he's just been invisible. I understand right now, he's playing with Tommy Novak and Michael McCarron. And, honestly, no disrespect to those two guys, but I don't really know what he's supposed to do offensively with those two guys. But even before that, he was in a position where he was playing with some good players. He was playing with Mikhail Granlund. He's played with Philip Tomasino. He's played with any number of guys, and he just hasn't looked all that dangerous this year. Even on the power play, hasn't looked very dangerous. So I am pretty concerned about Eeli Tolvanen's start. Like, at some point, you've got to find a way to figure it out at the NHL level. I realize he's still young, and I realize that he's got a shot that you just love if you're a Predators fan. But it doesn't do you much good to have that shot if you can't get open and find a way to use it. And I think he's been invisible far too often so far this year.
Do you think he could benefit from maybe a send down to Milwaukee just for a little bit?
Maybe. I think the thing you
just
worry
for his
about
confidence.
There is what Darren brought up. Well, I think it depends on how he's wired. How do you handle that? I think some people handle that well, and that can help your confidence if you go down there and play well. But that could also be has it really gotten that bad where they're sending me down to Milwaukee? And, you'd be interested to see how he would respond to that. I think he's a guy where at some point you just got to see if he could figure it out at the NHL level. And, Obviously he's pressing right now. I thought he played well against Arizona. Obviously had a couple assists in that game. But, you could tell he's shooting right now. He got robbed the other night, and you could just see his head kind of get thrown back, and he's looking around like, are you kidding me right now? Like, that's what it's got to feel like for Eeli Tolvanen. So, he's got to find a way to get open and use that shot. The aggressiveness needs to be a little bit more on display more often. I think a big part of what made him successful last year, everybody talks about the power play, and that part of it was great, and that was the obvious part. But Chris Mason and I have talked about this a few times. When Eeli Tolvanen was really on his game last year, he was engaged in the battle. He was playing physically, and he was getting in on the forecheck. He was creating turnovers. He was doing all the little things that John Hines wants his players to do. And, I just don't see a whole lot of that right now from Tolvanen. So that's got to get better in that regard. I think if it does, you'll see some more chances created 5-on-5.
Robbie Stanley is with us, one half of Robbie and Rex Road Morning 6 to 10 here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. So I viewed last night as a measuring stick game, and we obviously saw how it went, 24 shots on goal. For you, is the next measuring stick game, believe it or not, Anaheim, because they currently sit first in the Pacific Division?
Well, it is. I mean, I'm kind of blown away by what we've seen from Anaheim so far this year. And apparently
I'm not buying it, just so you know.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm buying it either, but, I guess if Troy Terry puts up 178 points, we might have to buy it at that point. But, look, I'm interested to see in how they respond on Saturday. I think one mark of a good team is when you have a performance that is bad and that you're not proud of, can you come out and correct it immediately? I mean, that's one thing that I've noticed a lot about, some really good teams the last couple of years, be that Carolina, be that Tampa Bay. More often than not, when they get shelled and when things don't go the way that they want in a given game, the response the next time out is usually pretty good. That's not always been the case with the Predators. So I'm interested with now the schedule playing out a little bit differently with no Ottawa coming up tomorrow night. How do you respond coming up on Saturday? That, to me, is going to be really telling for this team. But I agree, that Anaheim game, if you had asked me about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, I'd have said, well, it's the Ducks and the Predators, and the Ducks are going to be pretty bad this year. And so far, the Ducks look awfully good. I'm with you, Chase. I don't know that I'm buying it yet, but I'm really looking forward to that one coming up next week. But I think more interested to see how do you respond on Saturday night against a team that has struggled so far this year. I think you've got a good opportunity to really get a good taste in your mouth coming back home next week.
Does the extra day off with Ottawa being postponed, do you view that early in the season as a good thing, knowing that things are going to get more condensed as you go, or would you like to keep having some momentum right now?
Well, I view it as a good thing in the short term because you look at the schedule. They've got Montreal coming up on Saturday, and they got 4 games next week. Anaheim, Vegas, New Jersey, and Colorado, and 4 games in 6 days. So I think an opportunity to stretch the legs a little bit, maybe get some rest and get some practice time in could be pretty beneficial for this group because next week they're probably not going to have much practice time. They're not going to have much opportunity to rest up. So I'm okay with it. They played a lot of games as of late. This road trip, which basically feels like, I don't know if you guys agree, it basically feels like one big road trip that they've been on. I mean, when you have a pit stop in Arizona, it's basically the same thing as continuing through a road trip when you come back home for one game. So I don't think a break, even an unexpected break, is the worst thing in the world for the Predators at this point in time.
How concerned are you that, we haven't really heard an update on Philip Forsberg? He's week to week. That's been a knock on him of injuries and in a contract year and with an offense that for the most part has been clicking, getting production out of Duchesne, out of Johansson. Unfortunately, Forsberg not able to be a part of it.
Yeah, it's concerning from a couple of different angles. Number one, obviously the Predators have been able to sustain and play pretty well without him. I don't think that's a long-term formula for success this year. If this team is going to make the playoffs and they're going to be a threat once they get there, I think we all know that Philip Forsberg's going to have to be a pretty big part of that. So you're concerned from that standpoint. Hopefully he'll be back sooner rather than later. But the fact that we've really not heard much on that front yet, to me, is concerning. But, I think the bigger picture, the larger view that makes it more concerning is it makes what was already a complicated situation with his contract, I think, even more complicated because I think everybody would agree that Philip Forsberg is one of the most important players on this team. I think in a perfect world, most people would agree that it would be nice to have him on your team for the foreseeable future. But as Adam Bingen has pointed out a couple of times, I have no clue what his contract is going to look like because there's not really a good comp for him in terms of his deal right now. And as you said, Chase, the knock on him has been the injuries. It has been 4 or 5 years now since he's been fully healthy for a season. And, it's not like he's had major injuries along the way that you're concerned about his body just totally breaking down. It's, 12 games here, 15 games there, 12 games here, and eventually that adds up after the course of time. So it's concerning to me because you look at that deal, and I know his agent is probably looking around saying, well, you can't convince me that Philip Forsberg has not been the most important forward on this team for the last few years, and he's probably right about that. But if you're David Poile, I think you can make an argument based on the production that he's had the last few years and his availability that he's not worth a whole lot more than what he's making right now. So that really makes, I think, what was already a complicated negotiation situation, I think, even more complicated.
Roby, good stuff. Good to talk to you. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll be listening tomorrow morning. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you, fellas. I appreciate you.
Robbie Stanley,
Rob.
half of Robbie and Rex Road, mornings 6 to 10 a.m. Check it out right here on these airwaves leading up to our show. They do a really good job in the morning. We'll come back more on the other side as we'll continue this discussion as you listen to Darren Donica Chase, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
But first, let me tell you about BetMGM, because you can get your payout before the game's out with BetMGM. Place a moneyline wager on any Thursday night football game, and if your team is up by 10 or more points at halftime, you are a winner. That's a full payout for only half the game, no matter what happens the rest of the way. Simply go to your BetMGM account and opt in each week to the Thursday night halftime payout promotion. Want to continue wagering in the third quarter? Keep it rolling with BetMGM's extensive live betting options. If you need to hit the sack early, use your winnings to place a one-game parlay on Sunday and go for gridiron glory. If you're new to BetMGM, download the app today and see how you can turn halftime into cash time. Make a moneyline bet on Thursday night, and if your team is up by 10 or more, you'll win at the half. Only at BetMGM. Opt-in required. You must be 21 years or older. Must be in Tennessee. Visit BetMGM.com for a full list of terms and conditions. For problem gambling support, call the Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789.
That's the way to win. Took everybody, we found a way to win. Let's go. Titans on 3. 1, 2, 3.
The Red Hot Titans sit atop the AFC with an 8-2 record.
It is pretty incredible that they just continue to find ways to win.
Your home of the best Titans coverage.
This is how the Titans are going to have to win games.
Is Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Calling all sweet tooths. Head to Nashville Toffee Company, a place where rich, chocolatey daydreams are created from a secret family recipe generations in the making. Their toffees and candies are handcrafted in Nashville using all natural, kosher certified ingredients. Sweet creamery butter, pure cane sugar, premium roasted nuts, deep rich chocolate, and sea salt. Visit NashvilleToffeeCompany.com or drop by their headquarters on Air Lane Drive for a positively hassle-free shopping experience. Whether you're buying for 1 or 100, Nashville Toffee Company is here to make your holiday gift giving easy.
A little holiday mischief is brewing at Rock Bottom Nashville. Wicked Elf Ale is back and ready to cause some trouble. Toast to the season with a unique Belgian beer with festive notes of spices, stone fruit, and holiday spirits. It's only available for a limited time, so grab a pint before it's gone. 25 cents of each pint sold will go to Toys for Tots. Rock Bottom Nashville has karaoke every Tuesday from 8 p.m. till midnight, so grab a pint or two while rocking on the mic. Visit Rock Bottom Nashville, 111 Broadway, Nashville's original brewery downtown.
Last year, Nashville SC shattered the expectations in Major League Soccer.
Nashville SC dumping Toronto out of the playoffs.
Now they're back for more. Nashville SC is back in the Audi MLS Cup playoffs, and you can cheer for the boys in gold here at Nissan Stadium. Get your tickets now for round 1 to see Nashville SC face off against Orlando City SC on November 23rd at 7 p.m. Tickets start at just $24, so come be a part as the boys in gold look to bring a championship to Nashville. Get your tickets at NashvilleSC.com/tickets. Everyone in.
There are still lots of good days left to golf, so why not golf like no other at Hermitage Golf Course? Hermitage has been a must-play for 35 years. And have you heard about their frequent player program? For every 4 played rounds in a calendar year, you get your 5th one free. With a newly renovated bar and grill and full-service catering, Hermitage is also the perfect place for your next outing. It's Hermitage Golf Course in Old Hickory, Tennessee, home of the Scottish black-faced sheep and your next golf adventure. On the web at hermitagegolf.com.
Your home value is way up. Why not use it to make your home even nicer with a new kitchen or bathroom? Hey, Willie here. So many of our listeners are doing this with Loan Pronto, thanks to their zero-cost cash-out refi program. Call Loan Pronto now. They're fast-tracking home refis for the year-end, and people are getting checks for $60, $70, $100 or more. It's fast and easy. It's your money, money you can use to add even more value to your home. Imagine 2022 with that all-new luxurious kitchen you've been dreaming about, or start building that pool so it's going to be ready for the summer. Call Loan Pronto now. See how easy it is to use the equity in your home and walk away with the big check. They can even pay your closing costs, and you can skip your next 2 house payments. Call 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. Not all loans apply.
Hey, Robbie Stanley here, and basketball fans celebrate the NBA's 75th anniversary season on FanDuel Sportsbook. Right now, new customers can place their first bet risk-free, and if you don't win, you'll get up to $1,000 back. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, now's the perfect time to give it a shot, and they've got you taken care of on the NBA front. The point total, the rebounds, the assists, the money line, the over-under, the point spread, everything is on the table, and that's one of the many reasons I love betting with FanDuel Sportsbook. Check out my beloved Miami Heat this year. They're off to a great start, and Bam Adebayo on the rebounds, Jimmy Butler on the over on points, Tyler Hero on the over on points as well. Something to keep in mind, but you take it any way you want to take it. They've got great live betting options and fast withdrawals as well, so keep that in mind. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and sign up using promo code ROB to get your first bet risk-free up to $1,000 and make every moment more this NBA season. Once again, that promo code is ROB. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. Refund issued is non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Got a gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
What's up, everybody? This is Teron Davenport, and I am here to tell you about Freedom Tire Guys. They're Nashville's premier mobile tire service. New tires, rotating, balancing, flat repair, torquing, they do it all. I can tell you this from personal experience. Just a couple weeks ago, I was at the Titans facility. They came there and changed my tires, all 4 of them. They did an excellent job. My car is riding extra smooth now. If you're in need of tire service, be sure to check them out at freedomtireguys.com. If you don't see the tires you want, they'll go ahead and get it for you.
Hey, this is Matthias Ekholm. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Thank you, Matthias. Tell everybody about Smashville Live tonight during the 6 o'clock hour.
Smashville Live is going to be a fun one tonight because I'm going to catch up with former Nashville Predator David Legwan. So looking forward to that. And also Scott Hamilton. He'll be in the second half of the show. It's 6 o'clock. You can watch it on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, all of those things, or, of course, listen on 102.5 The Game as well. But looking forward to hosting that one with David Legwan and Scott Hamilton starting at 6.
Okay. Make sure you check that out tonight during the 6 o'clock hour. I do think there's been a whole lot of good. I know we're on, on the heels of just coming off talking about a 3-0 loss in Toronto. Toronto's really good. It's a tough place to play.
They're legit.
I think they are. I was really impressed with them. They impressed me more than Edmonton, if that makes any sense, because they both look the same offensively, right? Having success in the regular season has not been the issue. It's once you get into playoff hockey, right, things get tougher. It gets dirtier. It gets grindier, right? You got it's more physical. And I feel like Toronto's kind of changed a little bit of their makeup. They're willing to get greasy with you. I didn't get the same sense of Edmonton. I'm just saying, to me, if you had to choose which narrative changes, because both of them have had basically the same success or lack of. They have really good regular seasons. They could score a ton. They've got those big names. We all know the names. We don't need to go through them. But then when they get to playoff hockey, it just doesn't translate for them. I kind of feel like the Leafs are changing that narrative. Now, does Jack Campbell look the same the rest of the way? There's a big if to that, right?
I think that's probably the biggest question they have.
Yeah, we don't know. Right now, he looks really good. He already has 3 shutouts on the season. So, Campbell is a key ingredient for them, but I thought they were winning puck battles last night. They made things difficult for the Predators. They were, they had a strong forecheck last night. And I don't know. I just feel like they looked a little bit different than Edmonton. Edmonton, to me, kind of looked like the same team we've been seeing. They're good, albeit they're good. But will it change in the playoffs? I didn't get that sense coming away from the game, even though they beat the Predators 2 at their place. I don't know. It felt a little bit different with this Leafs team. But anyway, being said,
I want to ask you a question before we move on from Toronto. Do you think if Forsberg is healthy and in the lineup last night, it looks any different?
Well, I don't think your answer should ever be no. Something wouldn't look different if Forsberg's in the lineup, because I think the answer is always going to be yes. I mean, Forsberg can change a game. I mean, he's a highly skilled, highly talented player. And so, yes. Does it have a different outcome? I'm not willing to go there.
I mean, you can make the argument that Duchesne has been a game changer, at least to this point in this season, and he wasn't last night. Now, he's not going to score every game.
Right, yeah. He rang one off the post. I mean, he still, I thought, played well. But, yes, he's not going to score every night.
Right.
I don't no, that's – I was going to say I don't think. No, I think. He's not going to score every night. We know
and Granlund, and, I mean, the guys that have been playing well. But I mean, I think he makes a difference, but I just think that, again, I use the term measuring stick with, and you look at Edmonton and Toronto, which I think have been the two biggest ones thus far. I'll throw Carolina in there too. They haven't quite measured up yet to those upper echelon teams. Can they? Maybe, especially if you put somebody like Forsberg in there. But that's the biggest difference if you're trying to gauge where this team is.
That's fair.
They're just not there with a Toronto, Edmonton, Carolina, teams like that. Not yet.
I mean, 2 of the 3 were on the road, so that always makes things the hill a little bit steeper. I think that's fair, though. But it's not like they've been. It's not like they've played Arizona 4 times, and I was going to say Buffalo, but you can't even use Buffalo as an example anymore, right? Buffalo's actually playing well.
They are
to start the season, but when you look at this team and the success they've had early on, the way they're playing, the great storylines of Duchesne and Johansson turning things around, Tanner Jeannot continues just to play really well. We don't need to go through the checklist. The checklist is pretty good in the good department. I think the two biggest, and UC Saros goes without saying, the 2 biggest concerns for me are Eeli Tolvanen, because I do worry. I do worry that
I do too.
Confidence is going to sink him for the time being, because the more times that he doesn't have success, and you just compound that night in and night out, you can go down a deep dark hole that's hard to climb out. Sometimes you have to be, you have to kind of reset, right? I don't think, obviously, there's any panic. I'm just saying, for the time being, right now, it's just not working. I mean, Tomasino looks like I was going to say production, goes without saying. Where he is right now, today, Tomasino looks better, right? I don't think that's not some, crazy statement to make. So the other one is, what are they going to do if Forsberg, because when David Poyle, when we asked him about it didn't sound like he's anytime soon, right?
No.
It's not like he's out there skating like Carrier and Cousins. Like, I expect probably one or both of them to maybe be back in the lineup Saturday. They're back there with the team. They're skating with the team. Didn't play last night. But you don't get that vibe with Forsberg. I guess the question is what we've been talking about before, is if he spends, a decent amount of time on the sidelines and not in the lineup, at some point there's going to have to be a decision made business-wise, and what are they going to do? I guess also to answer that, you could say, well, where are they in the standings, right? What does it look like? And I think the reality is, I feel pretty comfortable saying this, is it's just not going to be that easy, right? Like they're not going to be in the cellar and out of it where everybody's like, this team's got no chance. They're not going anywhere. And they're probably not going to be the best team in the West. It's probably going to be somewhere in the middle where it's going to be really difficult, right? Like everybody thinks like, they're probably a playoff team. Or let's just say they're right in the mix of everything, right? They're right in the middle of everything. So I don't think it's going to be easy. It's going to be like, okay, they're right there, or they're in, or they're just on the outside looking in. I mean, I think probably they're going to be in at that point, but what do you do if you don't have any clear answers on the future?
Yeah, and that's going to be a really tough one because you could the value there. I mean, if all of a sudden you make Philip Forsberg available, I would think you're going to get some pretty good offers for him. But if you're right there in the mix, that's a piece you want. Because, as we have said, Robbie brought it up, but we've said it too, the success that they're having without him, I just don't know how sustainable that really is because you know how streaky this game is. Duchesne's going to cool off eventually. Granlund's going to cool off. It's ebbs and flows. Now, the hope is somebody else is going to get hot when one of those guys cools off, but who is that going to be? Is that Tolvanen? Does Forsberg come back and he's hot? Because I wouldn't say before he got hurt. I think he was good, but I think we've obviously seen him play at another level. Maybe he was getting there before he got hurt, but so I don't know. It's a where do you, in David Poyle's mind, where does his team have to be for him to say, nope, I'm going to ride this out. I need Phillip no matter what happens, just like last year. And does he think they can make a run? Or is it going to be like last year and you hold on to him and it's a first-round exit?
First of all, let me just say this is just my 2 cents. This is just my opinion. It's not about where they are in the standings. It's not about – to me, the decision is all about the future. I mean, to me, I don't – if the answer is you don't feel privately, you don't feel like it's going to happen in the offseason, then I don't – it doesn't matter where you are in the standings. Like, you can't lose him. You don't keep just for this season and knowing that it's probably not going to work out and he's going to go elsewhere. To me, it's either you have to have – and you're probably not going to, you're not going to have a 100% answer no matter what. You're going to have some intel, and you're going to have a pretty strong feeling one way or the other. If you think you can get it done and you think his future for the next whatever amount of years, long term, is here, then obviously it doesn't, once again, standings don't matter. There's your answer. If you don't, doesn't matter what the standings look like. If you don't think that, if your gut feeling is, I got a bad feeling about this, to quote Platoon, I know that's dating myself, I got a bad feeling about this. I don't think we're going to make it out of here. You got to punt. You can't get nothing in return. You can't have him just walk out the door for nothing. You just can't. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know how this is going to play out. I do know that I would not want to be in David Poyle's shoes because I am not envious of that decision because I just don't think, me personally, if you're like, well, I'm like 50-50 on how this is going to play out, then what? What do you do? If you're just 50-50, like I think this can go either way. Well, what do you do come trade deadline?
Well, and the problem there is the other teams know that. The other 31 teams know, the position you're in of if you're 50-50, and so that's going to affect their offers. Maybe you're not going to get, what you would like to get for him. Because, as I said, I think the value would be there that you get a pretty good return for a player like Philip Forsberg. But if you're a team that, maybe is in a better position to go for it and you want to get a player like that, you're going to lowball because you know that David's going to be stuck in a position of, well, it really could go either way on if he comes back or not. So it makes it a really tough decision. I'm glad that I don't have to wear his shoes either because I think my feet are probably bigger, so I don't know if they'd fit. But, still, I don't envy David Poyle.
No, not a good spot to be in. unless you had clarification one way or the other. And I think that's going to be difficult to think that's going to happen over the next 2+ months, right? That you'll have clarification or at least a really, really strong opinion one way or the other. May not be 100% or guaranteed, but a really, really strong opinion one way or the other. I think that's going to be hard to think that could actually be the case here, going into late January, early February. All right, we'll come back. We'll put a bow on Wednesday's edition of Darren Donick and Chase next.
Saturday night.
He goes across, and what a stop is made there by Saros on Kane.
The Nashville Predators conclude their Eastern Conference road trip taking on the Montreal Canadiens. Pre-game at 5, face-off at 6 on Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Another mild start this morning with temperatures in the 50s on our way to highs in the 70s with breezy conditions and increasing clouds throughout the day.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Let me tell you about my friends at Lee Company. We've been talking about cold weather quite a bit today. It's cold in our area, and it's going to be really cold in Kansas City for the Titans.
Celebrate Thanksgiving with Social Furniture and save up to 70% off all furniture. They have sofas, sectionals with chase lounge, and recliners that are all push-button electric and wall away. They have all colors to choose from for your comfort watching any hockey game. All of them are plus leather, microfiber, and Chanel's. They have same-day delivery with no down payments and no interest. Forget the big box store. Support local. Support social. Social Furniture is a proud supporter of your Nashville Predators.
Do you really want to go through another year with that awful joint pain? Well, don't do it. Resolve right now to get yourself moving again for 2022. Willie Donick here. It's time to call the folks at QC Kinetics. Non-surgical regenerative treatments for joint pain. We're talking lasting results using natural biologics. No surgery, no pain meds, no steroids, and no downtime. This is really exciting stuff. Regenerative, restorative treatments that actually encourage your body to heal itself using highly concentrated natural biologics. Patients rave about it for hip pain relief, knee pain relief, shoulder and back pain relief. Don't let them give you the steroids. Don't let them tell you your surgery is the only option. Get a free second opinion at QC Kinetics and do it now. And imagine life in 2022 without pain. Call the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics. 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024 for QC Kinetics.
Your chance to get that rare, hard-to-find luxury timepiece is here at Genesis Diamonds. This weekend at Genesis, we're hosting the largest luxury pre-owned Rolex event ever held in Tennessee, just in time for the holidays. Genesis has found and purchased a spectacular selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches, all the hottest models that people wait years for, and we're showcasing them all this weekend. Hulks, Submariners, Daytonas, Pepsis, Batmans, rare luxury timepieces you can't find anywhere else. It's this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Come early. Get the first pick and get 60 months financing. How about a luxury pre-owned two-tone Submariner for only $299 a month, or a ladies 36mm date just for only $199 a month. Also for this event, our pre-owned Rolex buyers are on site offering top dollar for your luxury pre-owned Rolex. Come see the largest selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches in Tennessee and take advantage of special financing this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday only, and only at Genesis Diamonds, your new home for luxury pre-owned Rolexes.
Lift it, load it, grade it, grind it, move it, haul it, rig it, dig it, Crane Works, Rental Works, yeah! The big dog's got it.
Crane Works is ready to help lift Nashville. As the Southeast's most trusted name in crane and equipment rental for over 30 years, Crane Works offers certified operators to make sure the job is done right. Rental Works has a diverse fleet of equipment to assist in any project, big or small. From forklifts to carry deck cranes, they have it all. When it's time for your next lift, machinery moving, or rigging project, call Crane Works. Visit craneworks.com.
That's a no-whip, high-foam, 170-degree, sugar-free gingerbread latte.
Ah, yes. It's gingerbread latte season at Duchesne's Coffee Shop. He'll need a seasonal barista before his cookie starts to crumble.
Anything else? Oh, there's a list.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
You want to know what makes me LeBron? Sleep. That's right. Sleep is my superpower. And Calm, the #1 app for sleep, is essential to activating that power. From the sound of rain falling on leaves to bedtime sleep stories, Calm puts me to sleep within minutes, which means I wake up ready for any challenge. Because greatness lies on the other side of sleep.
For 40% off a Calm premium subscription, go to calm.com/LJ. That's calm.com/LJ. Robbie Stanley.
Maybe it doesn't hurt their bottom line this year. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen on that front.
Joe Rexrode.
5 guys who are on the roster are not going to be on the roster.
Get your morning started with Robbie and Rexrode every weekday from 6 to 10. Presented by Volunteer State Bank on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Interact with Darren, Donick, and Chase. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
It is, Jim. 94.9 is the official soccer, official English radio of the Nashville Soccer Club. By the way, they play
official
on Tuesday.
Soccer.
Yeah, whatever. It all works. Tuesday, November 23rd. That's next Tuesday. 3 seed, that's the 3 seed. They will face the 6 seed, Orlando City SC, in the first round. How about that? That'll be at Nissan Stadium. Pregame begins at 6:45. Match begins at 7 p.m.
Gonna be fun.
Probably gonna be cold.
Yeah, it will
Gonna be cold. I did see on Twitter Darius Leonard and Quentin Nelson not practicing today with Indy.
That's big for
Indy.
them.
Mm-hmm.
That's not good.
I also saw something that I just can't get past. It really irked me, and I figured, we got a couple minutes. I just want to pick your brain on it. Barstool Sports had their power rankings. We're going to do our NFL power rankings top 10 tomorrow. They did theirs on female singers all time.
Uh-huh.
You want to take a stab at some people on their list? Top 10 female singers of all time.
Whitney Houston.
Yep. Number 2. Good
Beyonce.
one. Number 6. You're rolling.
Adele.
Yes, on there. Number 9. Rightfully so. Belongs on there.
Let's see. All time. This is trying to think. Because they're going. Are they all pop?
Yes, no.
Mainly.
You're forgetting the big one, number 1.
Well, I thought Whitney Houston would have been number 1.
I know. I would have her number 1. Mariah Carey.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, she's big.
Uh-huh.
Who else? Who am I missing?
Aretha Franklin is 5. That's a travesty.
Yeah, she should be higher.
She should be higher than 5. Lady Gaga 4.
I don't hate that.
No, I don't hate it. I think she belongs in there. She's not number 4. JoJo 3. I'm checking out on that one. I'm going to say
No.
I don't even understand how that's on the list. Ashley Simpson, number 7.
Ashley Simpson?
Yeah. I don't know if this is a joke or not. I don't think it's a joke.
Yeah.
Tina Turner's 8. Addison
be
Rae
higher.
is 10. But I don't know. I know it's to each his own. But how do you leave off some? I mean, there's a lot of big names that belong on there personally.
Yeah, Whitney should be number 1.
Whitney should be number 1. But who would be somebody that wasn't on there that you think belongs on there?
Well, I'm bad. I'm thinking through all this. I mean, Aretha's a good one. Ariana Grande could be on there.
Well, I would say if you're putting newer artists, yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Are you surprised Taylor Swift wasn't on there?
No.
I'm not
Because I don't.
I'm not either because I don't know their criteria. I don't know what they're looking for. If it's entertainers or actually talent. Like she's like
Celine Dion should be on there.
She's talented, don't get me wrong, but you know what I mean. Like voices, like come on, she's not stacking up to some people on there on that list.
Madonna.
Thank you. That was number one where I would have been like, how
Christina
is Madonna
Aguilera.
I mean, yeah, she belongs, right?
Yeah. Celine Dion's kind of surprising that she's not on there.
She's not on there.
Yeah. By the way, the Braves could possibly be in on Justin Verlander.
Oh, really?
Yep. They are showing interest.
Oh, really?
I would be all about that.
How old is Justin Verlander?
30.
He's got to be late
30,
30s.
38. Yeah, he's
38. And won't he be 39
in
next
February.
season?
February.
Oh, yeah, before the season.
Yep.
Yeah.
1 or 2 year deal, though, I'd do it.
Okay. What's he get paid?
That's the question.
What does he want?
I'm not sure. I've just seen that they could potentially be interested.
Okay.
Yankees, too.
I think I saw White Sox and Yankees as well.
Yeah, he has Jays. He has multi-year and 1 year options.
Okay. You guys could use a Justin Verlander.
Oh, yeah.
All right, it is time for us to go. Good show. We'll be back at it tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. You enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Continue to be safe. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. I just did it.
You did it.
I did it. It's been a while, but I did it. Stillman and Company is next.
Take us wherever you may go.
There are 2 guys on my untouchable list.
Tune us in anywhere, anytime. Every